as I float along, ghost upon a hill. None of this is real, I'm waiting for the sun to come up. I'm anonymous, feel as if I'm sleeping under. Gotta open my eyes, open my eyes. It's beautiful. Gotta open my eyes, open my eyes. It's beautiful.
Welcome back to the Boise State Esports broadcast, and we are moving on tonight to the Overwatch match. Rocket League was our starter, but now it is time for the main event, if you will. Boise State versus Wyoming, the Broncos versus the Cowboys in Overwatch. I'm your host, Jacob Jem Mountain Palmer, and joining me at the desk, I've got Michael Fish Fisher and Jared Baratel Castiglione, still here from the Rocket League broadcast. Michael, Fish, it's great to see you here with us.
Thank you.
As we start the Overwatch, and to bring you up to speed, Boise State had the victory in Rocket League, a great buzzer beater at the end of the match to get them the victory. But like I said, this is the main course now. Rocket League was kind of the appetizer. Overwatch is the main course. League of Legends will be the dessert that someone spilled salt in and now it's ruined at the end of it. But right now we're focusing on Overwatch, and this is the game. We've talked about how Wyoming's joining us in the arena. This was the game that the Overwatch squad for Wyoming drove all the way here to play us. And the main thing that they want to prove here is how serious they are about their program. They're coming all the way over here to challenge us on our turf in this match. What do you think the Broncos should be thinking right now?
Oh, I mean, the Broncos should be worried. Anyone who's serious enough to drive from Wyoming to Boise, I've done it several times, would not recommend it unless you're serious about something. Boise State has to be scared that Wyoming came all this way to play Boise State on their home turf in front of their home crowd. They've got to be scared that this team is very serious.
Yeah, and I may have perhaps bribed some of the players from Wyoming with a slice of pizza, a little bit of insider information. They have some very serious comps that they're willing to bust out to get that W at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the Wyoming players yesterday when they first came into this arena, when they just got here, and they were talking to me about how confident they are in this double shield meta right now. He was really playing up the double shield comp that they've got right now, so I'm really excited to see how they do against Boise State. This is Boise State Esports versus University of Wyoming in Overwatch. The Broncos versus the Cowboys. We are going to see who comes out on top in this match.
Yeah,
right now, will the Cowboys be able to tame the wild horse?
Yes.
Or the horse
He went there.
Yes,
the
that's exactly where I was going.
Yes.
That's called synergy.
It's a true rodeo showdown.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. You know, maybe we'll see McCree, maybe Ash. Who knows?
You know what? That's okay. I want to see them on Wyoming's side now.
Yeah,
I want to see at least one of those heroes on Wyoming's side in some way, because if it's not, that's criminal almost.
You're not being thematically correct at that point. Now, that being said, is Orisa the closest thing to a horse?
Yeah, I was going to say if there is a horse, it has to be
We're probably
Orisa.
going to see Orisa. I mean,
we're going to see it, don't trust me.
the meta as it stands, of course, is most likely going to be, again, the Orisa Sig, 2 DPS, Reaper Doom, sometimes May, and then, of course, Moira Lucio as the standard. So be anticipating hearing a lot of those ultimates popping off.
Yeah, but don't forget about the pharmacy comp, and then when you run pharmacy, you definitely throw in Batista's there as well. So there is a couple.
What about Bastion with the projectile?
Yeah, Bastion as well could be there as we see the players for Wyoming on the screen here, but we really don't even need to see them on the screen because they're here in the arena.
That graphic is so sick for Wyoming. They bring that themselves?
They probably did. I mean, they did everything themselves, I'm
They
sure.
loaded it
That's
into
fair.
a thumb drive and drove it all the way over here just to show us.
It's worth it. It looks really
Yeah,
cool.
It does look
fantastic.
nice. Almost a bit of a complementary colors thing, too. You get some clear contrast there. But anyway, for those of you who are wondering, Overwatch is a game made up of 6-player teams, and so we obviously couldn't fit all of them on stage, but we like to have 3 versus 3. And before we get to the match, as we always do, it's time for Doc's Keys to the Game versus Overwatch Wyoming. Focus on priority targets, coordinate the push and pull, kite corners to stabilize, and watch your ult economy, something that's so crucial in a lot of these matches. Doc's Keys to the Game brought to you by Boise State University, where you can choose from more than 200 areas of study, and you will have the chance to combine minors, certificates, internships, hands-on research, work opportunities, and more. To make your educational experience, visit boisestate.edu for more information. That has been Doc's Keys to the Game.
Then I'll throw it out another key myself, and we've seen it from both sides throughout this Overwatch season, is don't commit to an ult that's useless. We've seen a lot of teams, they're going to, all right, we're going to use this sort of sneaky pick. The ultimate might not be worth it, or they lose out, maybe like a Sombra, it didn't quite work. Just throw it away. Don't sit on the EMP waiting for a perfect EMP that never comes. So I'm going to throw in Fish's key to the game. Don't waste an ultimate just because you have one up because it's a bad character.
Okay, and who's sponsoring you for Fishes?
Boise State Esports.
Yeah, Boise State Esports.
Okay.
Yeah, Boise State Esports sponsors me. Come watch Boise State Esports. 301 South Capitol, boisestate.twitch.tv, I think.
Yep, something like that.
Something like that.
Actually, that's the perfect time as we're waiting for this match to load for me to quickly go over if anyone here in the arena or watching at home wants to see more of what we have here at Boise State Esports, please consider getting a Twitch Prime subscription. Amazon Prime subscriptions automatically come with a Twitch Prime subscription, so anyone you know with an Amazon Prime subscription, any family members, relatives, or friends, you can get a free Prime subscription even if they aren't into esports by claiming
Just
that
take it
subscription
from
here.
them.
Yes, take it from them, and by clicking that subscribe button, you support everything we do here at Boise State University, and you fund scholarships for potential future players. Right now, we are going to get into the game, and we are going to be starting on Busan.
And this is a fantastic map for both players to kind of meet how much they want to be aggressive, because when it comes down to it, you can easily sit down right there where we're seeing that bridge is hovering barely over the control point that is used to get the the win on the W. But beyond that, you can go ahead and go into the enemy spawn, try to deny their rotation into that. It really depends on how aggressive you want to be as a team.
Yeah, the key here is for whatever team loses the first fight is making sure you don't get spawn trapped. We've seen it from both sides, mainly from the Boise State side.
Danger.
Danger. It is a lot of danger. That'd be
Danger,
a sneaky,
you can't go in there.
That's a sneaky route to take as well, but we've seen a lot of teams, they basically just channel down one corridor, just get immediately popped, because in the shield meta, when you're not the team that's assaulting, it's so much easier for you to just sit behind shield. So whatever team loses this first fight has to be very adaptive when it comes to their strategies.
Yeah, the mobility is going to be something crucial as well, because look how many pillars there are just at these initial starting points for the fights. There's so many things that can block the projectiles from each team, and as we see here in the middle, a Reinhardt's going to be pulled out from Solpan. A little bit of engagement, but he falters immediately. Block is going to be going down a little bit low as well. The dangerous health bars is going to be dropped, and Thunderhorn is going to be dropped. Wyoming is taking the first 2 bloods, going for almost a full team kill here, but unfortunately do get denied as Solpan just spawned.
Wait, Boise State, we have seen them pull out this Reinhardt before here on this map. Didn't work that time, though, so Wyoming will be the ones who start with the point. The rest of the team on the Broncos side will spawn there. We are seeing a metacomp come out from the Cowboys. Nothing surprising there. For Boise State, the only difference, as we mentioned, is that Reinhardt Baratel. So Boise State and Solpan have to make sure that works. And here's this sneaky flank route we were talking about.
They have to be careful, though, as they sneak under Wyoming. The Cowboys are left unawares as they go for another rotation, and Boise State almost gets the whole capture. They do so, and a fantastic rotation for Boise State. The Broncos charging forward into the Cowboys, but Solpan is dodging. It's dangerously low. The target acquisition for Wyoming is impeccable for their capture point.
Big Walk is going to take down Euphoria. The Coalescence is going to come out from Nerdy Bird, and that's going to wipe the Cowboys. B-Boy, the only one alive, he's going to go down. Denied a team kills. Euphoria did respawn, but now the Broncos are in complete control. They have the point. Let's see if the Cowboys have a sneaky flank up their sleeves.
Look at their ultimates. Boise State almost has 4 online, and on the other side of things, Wyoming only has the Blizzard Blossom available to them. And it's going to be something that, basically determines who's able to execute first. Again, Boise State going for the little bit of aggressive play, but this means that they're also subject to that sneaky rotation that they were able to get the point with.
And sometimes it definitely helps. Actually, Soulpan is going right into the team here. A Death Blossom is going to take out 2 from Boise State, but Soulpan just went ham. But this Reaper is saving it from Wyoming, almost a full team wipe. Are you not me? I was just going to make a little bit of a side comment there, but I couldn't because just
not
a play, not allowed. Wyoming is going to try to capture this point. But what I wanted to say is sometimes with Ultimate, it really tests the discipline of a team, because sometimes you got to be disciplined enough to maybe get into an engagement and let the other team waste a couple ultimates before you coordinate all yours with the team. And that can be tough to do because it's so tempting to press that Q.
That's what I thought really Wyoming was going to do in that fight. I was a little shocked the Blizzard Blossom came out, but it worked perfectly for the Cowboys. Broncos going to take that familiar route. Let's see if the Cowboys are ready for it this time. And yes, they are. Perfect Ice Ball is going to come out. Supercharger down from Guac. Nerdy Bird going to use the Coalescence. Gravitic Flux coming down from Trenton. 1, 2, 4. Nobody's going to go down as the Coalescence comes out as well. Supercharger this time from Euphoria. Thunderheart's going to pop the Soundberry. Captain Star has the Blizzard online as well. And that's going to start taking the Cowboys down. They just ran out of healing. Slap Happy, the last one alive. He's going to fall back at Boise State once again, back in control.
Modern Frost on his signature pick says, "I am death and I come for you, Wyoming."
And I love the Soulpan here on the Reinhardt. We have seen him on so many different heroes, but the Reinhardt, this is such a great nostalgia trip for those who have been following Soulpan in his career. And he has that Shatter available. Hopefully we can see a fat Shatter from Soulpan, something we haven't seen in quite a while. Oh! And there it is! The Fat Shatter is going to allow Soulpan to just go right through Wyoming, taking them out one at a time. Oh, what a great nostalgia trip. We haven't seen that in so long. Welcome back, Soulpan.
He actually got booped to the side for the flank shatter. Otherwise, it was going to meet the forward progression of a fortified Orisa, and that's not going to work for you. And we do see here a little bit of swap coming out. They want to go for a Tracer as well as a Winston. They're trying to go for a little bit of a dive. Overtime is going to be X-Twist here as Nerdy Bird pops the Coalescence. A lot of damage is going to be put onto the Wyoming, and they are again sent scrambling back to their base.
We're still in overtime, though. Zorth is going to use that Death Blossom. Will pick up any kills, and as the timer ticks down, the Broncos will get it now. They will take the first map here in round 1.
My apologies.
I love Busan.
My apologies for not keeping my side comments short and concise, but as soon as I start talking, there's a major play, and I just can't stop. I gotta say what's going on screen.
Welcome to Overwatch.
I know. There is no downtime. So you have to see how the Cowboys want to respond.
But the Cowboys did put in a good performance there. They had great engagements.
They were fantastic. They won the first fight. Really what turned that around
was that
for
Shatter.
The Broncos. Well, the Shatter, but also the sneaky play. We usually see people funnel right down that hallway there, sneaking underneath the point, getting it there. It really felt like from there, Boise State was in complete control of the map. We'll just see if we see any pharmacies come out on this map, or maybe Doomfist. Those have been very effective for both sides here. See if we're going to see any swaps where both teams are comfortable with where they are. And they might be because they perform so well.
Might even see a Widowmaker as well, because, these first points where you're able to get on that high point of that building, we do see some rockets coming out. So the pharmacy is going to be maybe on one side, but the Widowmaker right there where you see that second elevation, so much points for critical damage as well. And a little bit of engage here on the back line. Soulpan's going to be switched to a little bit more comfortable pick and going for tremendous amounts of damage on the front line of Wyoming. 3 are going to be eliminated. 4 in Boise State showing promise and momentum from the last round.
They're not quite able to take down Slap Happy, though that lack of hit scan is something Boise State might want to keep in mind if one of their DPS players does go down in a fight. For now, they have to be very confident, though Slap Happy is actually the farthest in this game besides Nerdy Bird. That barrage is up over 55% and only building because no one for Boise State can do any damage to him as we see him bouncing around in the background there. Guac taking a lot of damage. Coalescence is up for Nerdy Bird if she chooses to use it. Ice Wall is going to come out and trap 3 members of the Cowboys on one side. Here comes the Coalescence. Modern Frost, the first one to fall, though. Now we'll see see a kill picked up from Wyoming, as we're going to see Trent and Euphoria go down as well. Nerdy Bird doing a lot of healing. Thunderhorn as well. Viking Pilot will go down. The Cowboys are probably going to have to regroup at this point, and they are going to do that, let those spawns reset, maybe have a couple more fights against the Broncos.
But that being said, Slap Happy was able to get 100% on his ult. If he's able to catch Boise State unawares with the sneaker rotation to that left side, it could be detrimental to Boise State's defense at this point.
And I do want to ask, is there anyone in particular that Wyoming should be starting to be focused down? Is there anyone standing out in particular from Boise State that's a huge threat here?
I mean, Nerdy Bird out of here.
Yeah, Nerdy Bird, Thunderhorn, any support, it lets you do a ton of damage as the Supercharger is going to come down from Soulpan here. Viking Pilot is going to use that Coalescence. Euphoria will fall. Double kill picked up by the Broncos.
There it is!
He snuck around just like you said, Barrettel. We will see Nerdy Bird and Captain Star pick up another kill. B-Boy will res Euphoria. Zorith is going to take down Captain Star, who did use the Blizzard. That is terrible for Boise State to not have the Blizzard Blossom up. We do see the Valkyrie come out very late for B-Boy, but the Cowboys are going to claim this point.
Soulpan wanting to say, you know, maybe we should be a little bit more aggressive, maybe we should be a little dive heavy, hovered on the wrecking ball, but quickly switched back saying, we have 77%, we can take things a little bit slow, maybe get another ultimate, but again, like you said, Captain Star throwing that Blizzard means that there's no way for Boise State sans the Gravitic Flux to keep them in range of that Death Blossom shortly coming up.
Zorith has that Death Blossom up as well. Euphoria very close to Supercharger. Coalescence is going to come out from Nerdy Bird. She's taking a lot of damage. Gravitic Flux is going to come out from Guac as well. We're going to see a res out onto Slap Happy, but it's not going to matter. There's the Death Blossom. Two other Cowboys are going to fall. Slap Happy the only one alive. He'll get shot out of the sky, and the Broncos pick up a team kill and are so close to taking this second map.
They have to continue to be aggressive because Wyoming doesn't have any resources. They have their own Death Blossom as well as the Bongo, but that's not going to be enough if they're not able to get to the point.
Yeah, the Cowboys have probably one fight left. If it's not going to be a fight, they want to take on their own terms. Zorith going to use that Wraith form there. He's now trapped up by the ice wall. He might go down before he even gets the Death Blossom up, but he will actually take down Modern Frost in the process. We are in overtime here. The Cowboys have to stay on the points. Thunderhorn going to use that Sound Barrier. Didn't hit anyone. He goes down. Captain Star, Nerdy Bird, and Soulpan going to fall as well. A great barrage from Slap Happy before he died, and the Cowboys are not dead yet. They'll get that point. I don't know how Zorith stayed alive there.
Well, and the silver lining is Zorith, you could definitely see he was trying to get a good Death Blossom in there. It didn't work out for him. But the silver lining is that now he has it for this next crucial fight.
It's almost like he ran distraction there on accident.
Yeah, a little bit of a little bait and switch there.
Double
a lot
back,
of resources,
reverse psychology.
and he even took out Modern Frost while getting caught out from 3 members. Boise State just not respecting that kind of heavy damage from this player, and Wyoming's going to be able to hold the point. Nerdy Bird's going to unleash the Coalescence, a lot of damage, and healing going to be put out from Boise State, and 2 members of Wyoming falter. The Death Blossom's going to be put out, but it's not enough damage. Again, another barrage from Slap Happy, but it gets shut down as the wings get clipped from Wyoming, and Boise State commanding their lead on this force and pushing forward onto the point.
You see a bunch of swaps come out from the Cowboys here to try and keep this into overtime, but the point has been contested, so the Broncos actually haven't got it. Now they will as Wrecking Ball. We're at the point, and we're into overtime here. The Cowboys have to stay on it to keep this game alive. We see the Death Blossom is up for Modern Frost. He's going to use it just as some extra damage. He'll actually go down to B-Boy and not pick up a kill. Supercharger is going to come out from Soulpan as well, as the Broncos starting to flounder there just a little bit. Slap Happy on that Tracer is kiting Soulpan around right now. Guac will take out B-Boy. The Blizzard's going to come out from Captain Star. That'll pick up a couple members there. Nerdy Bird immediately use the Coalescence as soon as it comes online, and the Broncos will get game 2 and round 1.
That was a redemption Blizzard from Captain Star. The first one whiffing, but that second one getting them the point and the round win.
We have seen such great plays, and Zoria,
rightfully so. This definitely belongs here.
Yeah, he's going to steal the play of the game here with this Death Blossom.
Look at how
this
good
was
this
the
is.
one that made me lose my voice. I was just making a comment, but 1, 2, and then after the Death Blossom, getting 2 more.
He gets
That
5.
5. Excuse me, almost leading to a full team wipe. That is a well-deserved play of the game. Now, one thing I wanted to comment on here is I loved seeing Soulpan back on the Reinhardt.
100%.
One of the seeing a Fat Chatter again was so great. It's such a nostalgic trip. But if we're going to go down that route, I want to see some Nerdy Bird on Diva.
I want to see Nerdy Bird Diva, but the Moira, she's instrumental in keeping her whole team alive.
Whether she's on the Diva or the Moira, she was such a key part of Boise State there.
I mean, every time I watch Nerdy Bird, it convinces me that Moira's Coalescence does not have a cooldown.
It definitely doesn't.
It's ridiculous.
It's just a regular ability for her.
It is. Yeah, it's just like, oh, here comes the Coalescence. It's just a normal ability, not an ultimate. So incredible play. We might see something come out from Boise State. But you got to be careful. Wyoming's here in the building. You can see up on the screen behind me there. You see the players there. You can tell just over, that is my left shoulder, the Wyoming logos on some of those computers there. Split right down the middle on the stage.
You can't say your comms too loud.
No, you got to be very careful on your comms. The rest of the players scattered around the arena. They drove all the way from Wyoming to prove to their university how serious they are. And they gave it to Boise State. They are not to be taken lightly.
No. Boise State's having to pull out a lot of tricks. And in that first round, it was mainly just a couple misplays pulling, matter of fact, the Reinhardt into a position where the Shatter was going to get 4 behind the shield. That was one of the main pillars of success for Boise State. If that doesn't happen, this could have been a 1-1.
And one thing we're also seeing here is we've seen the coach, some coaching on the stage on Wyoming's side as well. Normally we just see that for Boise State.
Yeah.
Doc there giving some notes to the team, but it's so great. Yeah, you said it. When we have both teams here, we have coaches for each, we have cheer sections for each. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's a little loud, but that's the whole nature of the beast.
Yeah.
My personal favorite thing is the what is this? The anti-screen peeking barrier put between the 3 players on the map. And as we see a little bit of replays here, I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of recapping what went right for Boise State and what Wyoming can bring to the table to get a round win. And this is a fantastic ultimate from Modern Frost. But later in the game, the player Euphoria was able to say, you know what, hold on a second. If you get all your projectiles absorbed, your Death Blossom doesn't heal you at all. And that's what they did. So Wyoming has the resources and the wherewithal to know what they need to do to take a round win. They just need to execute.
Yeah, Wyoming never was being sort of the patent spawn trap that we've seen from Boise State before. They were competing very well. They were never back on their heels. So they've proven that they can stick against this Boise State team on at least that map. The quality of Overwatch, maybe the best part is there's so many different maps. So maybe if you aren't good at the first one, we have different ones to come that might highlight Wyoming's skill style. Maybe they have a pocket pick they like to bring out.
Historically, and this is just the nature of Broncos in general, they put up a huge amount of resistance, but the Cowboys' resilience will wear them down.
Will it wear them down? I am not sure. You cannot expect anything in this match against Wyoming. The Boise State Broncos versus the Wyoming Cowboys in Overwatch.
That's what this is? This is Overwatch?
Yeah, if you haven't guessed.
I thought this was just a cardio workout, to be honest.
It was just a well, with exciting it is, it gets your heart beating here on stage, so it feels like a cardio workout.
Now, it looks like we're going to do a little bit of a roster swap. D'Angelo being pulled onto the desk, onto the mainstay support role that she's been known famous for, those clutch heals and that devastating pocket mercy.
In place of Thunderhorn, who was in that first game. They're going to be interested to see, usually, as you mentioned with that Mercy, it's got to be a pharmacy comp pulled out. That's kind of where Mercy's spot in the meta is. So it'll be interesting how Boise State, you would think, she'd have at least something besides, well, if you don't play Farah, you can't play Mercy.
It's almost, does Boise State have currently right now on the roster a Farah player? Does his name also rhyme with Schmapton Schmar?
It might.
It might.
We might see it. Not the, not always the best game mode for it. It's not fantastic on defense because you're sort of always falling back. So we'll have to see here on the hybrid how they want to handle it and what map Wyoming wants to pick. But I think from what I glanced at, a little bit of screen peeking, it looked like Kings Row, but we'll have to see if that changes.
It is
which
possible.
Everyone wants to pick Kings Row. No, it's not Kings Row. I was wrong. Trying to speak it into existence.
One's day, one's night. It's all the same.
So that means Lego Bastion could come out.
Lego Bastion.
I'd like to see Lego. Yes, exactly. I was going to say
specifically.
Yeah, we also have seen Boise State. They take a couple different interesting defense routes, even opting to get rid of the Bastion and run the Pharmacy plus the Ash.
Yeah, but it's something that they struggle with sometimes as well.
They have had a tendency to struggle sometimes with that. I'll be curious to see what Wyoming wants to bring out, where they put that Bastion, the routes they take. We've seen teams take this route and be very successful against Boise State because usually you're posted up right above that bridge there, right in that little pocket is where the offensive side likes to post up. So if you can sneak around there, maybe you see a sneaky symmetric teleport. We've seen it a couple times very early this year. That might be key for Wyoming or whoever is attacking first to get a little bit of a sneaky pick.
I mean, whoever wins Boise State or Wyoming, we're all winners if a Lego Bastion appears.
That's true, because Legos are key. And those are my keys to success. Play Lego Bastion. Sponsored by not Lego, but me, because I love Legos.
You wish. Lego,
I'll give you a Lego if you play Lego Bastion.
I don't know if we want your Legos, Baratel.
I'll buy Fresh Pack.
As we're going to hop into the game here. Doesn't look like either side, at least the defending side, wants to bring a Bastion here for now. We will see.
True, they both have one.
Did. Where was that Bastion hiding? I've been wrong.
Waiting for the Batiste.
It's actually a mirror comp on both sides here. The Pharmacy plus the Bastion on both sides. Going to see a lower flank set up there by Wyoming. Immortality Field going to come out from Viking Pilot, be taken down by Modern Frost, and immediately Euphoria is going to fall. Zorth is the next one as well. Modern Frost just raking up the damage right now. He is just ripping apart the team. Now he's going to go for the other Pharah. That could be a tricky one to hit.
That is a dangerous thing, and at first I was going to point out you did call it Mortality Field, but it ended up being a Mortality Field for Wyoming as they grouped around it. But as it was following, the damage from Captain Star and Modern Frost put them down into the respawn again.
And Modern Frost did a great job sniping out that Immortality Field from Viking Pilot. We are going to see the Amplification Matrix is online if he wants to use it. For now, though, the Cowboys are taking a little bit of a sneaky route here. They'll end up in the same spot a little slower maybe than the boys had expected, but already the damage coming in. Captain Star, the fourth one to fall. Immortality Field coming up from the side of D'Angelo. Going to see a res onto Captain Star as well. The Amplification Matrix is going to come out immediately, but the Broncos are taking a ton of damage for now. Captain Star is going to go down for the second time to slap Happy there, as Modern Frost will pick out Viking Pilot before his Matrix is able to come down. Slap Happy does have the barrage if he wants to use it. We can't see him hiding in the back there. We'll see B-Boy join in as well. Modern Frost has the barrage. B-Boy gonna go down there. Modern Frost debating using that barrage over now in that close corridor. He is going to hold on to it, but the Broncos survive Captain Star going down.
A huge credence down to Wyoming because their target acquisition and execution is paramount in their success. Even through two sources of a huge amount of healing on the source of the Captain Star, they were able to take him down, and then the rest of Boise State, luckily they had Modern Frost chipping out damage, but without that Bastion, you lose a huge defensive front.
You know, I thought it was just insane what we saw in that last engagement there. You saw both the Mercy and a great rocket barrage from Modern Frost is going to take out 2. And Modern Frost is going to continue by taking out 5 in total. Soulpan cleans it up by taking out the Mercy, and Slap Happy is finally going to go down, staggering out Wyoming quite a bit.
Nerdy Bird switched to a pistol there. She would.
The Battle Mercy coming out. That was an excellent barrage there by Modern Frost. Unfortunately for Viking Pilot, that Immortality Field just a little too late. 2 members went down before it even came down. Good news for Wyoming. They did have 3 ultimates up, but Slap Happy actually is going to give up that barrage, switch over to the May. So I want to see if B-Boy is going to follow as well and give up that Valkyrie.
I just wanted to finish my thought here. Just a testament to how much damage we're seeing. 2 engagements ago, you saw both the Mercy and the Baptiste focusing all their healing on the Bastion, and it still went down.
Yep. And again, right there, Captain Star faulting, and the Bongo is going to come out. Immortality Field is going to be set up, but Boise State has to be careful, as the only one to defend Modern Frost in the air is himself. Boise State getting a lot of damage from Wyoming across the way. The May wall is going to be huge in blocking a lot of that damage, but again, Boise State not being able to acquiesce this. Oh no, Captain Star has been resurrected. Tank form is going to emerge. An explosive amount of damage is going to be put onto Wyoming, and the Cowboys are going to be sent home.
We are seeing Captain Star just shoots B-Boy out of the sky in tank form. Who needs hit scan when your Captain Star accuracy is that good? The Broncos going to push off another push from the Cowboys. Just 15 seconds left on the clock. We're probably going to see 1 fight left for the Cowboys. We'll see some swaps over to keep this thing into overtime. We just see Modern Frost with that barrage up, and now no Immortality Field on the side of the Cowboys. That could be deadly.
3 seconds left, 1 second left. Overtime is going to be accessed here. And the Hammond, the Death Ball, Wrecking Ball is going to do what he can to stay alive. Modern Frost looking for the barrage, not able to find it. He does unleash it. 1, 2, 3 members of Wyoming are sent back to respawn. And Boise State defending this. 2 members left of Wyoming. Can they push this off? They are unable to get the damage down. And Boise State going for the full team kill.
I mean, how about Modern Frost during that whole match? He was the continual thorn in the side of Wyoming. If there was any player that you needed to focus down, it would have been him, because he kept wiping out Wyoming before they could make any sort of play.
I thought he was playing a Widowmaker with how accurate he was being with those rockets.
Yeah, that is the one problem when you have a pharmacy on both sides, is you sacrifice the shields on your team, which are usually so effective. We've seen Sigma shields kill Pharahs before because they shoot their barrage right into it and end up doing the damage right back to themselves. So we see the players from both sides on your screen there. So that is the one thing Wyoming gave up with the pharmacy on their side. Would have maybe liked to see them just go with a traditional shield comp there, create the pirate ship once they get the point. But now Boise State knows exactly what they have to do. Just capture that first point, and we'll see how the Cowboys want to set up their defense.
They have to get a little bit into the second tick of the first point.
Yeah, because Wyoming was able to get 1 tick there, so not even a full capture. They just need to get a good engagement, and a half capture, and they've got this second match.
Have to see here for Boise State. Silhouettes sometimes can be a little trolly because they like to swap on us. I've made that mistake too many times calling
More
out.
Reinhardt. Please, more Reinhardt.
He doesn't fit here. How do you use a
Sure he does.
Yeah, that Bastion will rip through your shield in
Soul
5
Pan
seconds.
can make any Reinhardt work.
That's
We've
true.
seen the Sneaky Shatter multiple times.
That's true. I mean, we have, but you've got to respect your opponent.
That's true.
Yeah, I think we'll see Boise State with their standard comp. I want to see what Wyoming brings out here. Probably going to see the Pharmacy Punch the Bastion. Wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys come out with almost the exact same thing we saw from both sides, but I'm not too sold on a attacking Pharmacy.
I think that the Reinhardt is a respect call because not only is it Solpan's best played character, but to have to put so much on the line with just the Earth Shatter, that just says that we can't beat you without this crucial, pivotal
How are you going to
ultimate.
shatter somebody up there? We saw how
He'll get there.
defensive that
Symmetra
Bastion
teleport.
was. We are going to see the exact same comp come out from the side of the Cowboys here. I don't see a Reinhardt, and I don't see a Symmetra Veritel. I am sorry
That's
for
okay.
Boise State. They're going to sacrifice the Bastion, though. They're going to run with the Mei and the Reaper, so how quickly they can get on to Zorit there, if they can pull him off. With Solpan, it doesn't matter. Solpan is immediately
There's
going to
the
go
wall.
down. Ice Wall comes up from Captain Star to try and save some of that damage. Now we're going to see Wyoming drop down here. Trenton 124 is going to fall. Modern Frost is taking a lot of damage, though. Solpan back in the fight. Immortality field up there. We'll see Guac fall as well, but Modern Frost sitting on the back line. He took out Euphoria. We're going to see a Wrecking Ball swap come out from Solpan, but for now the Broncos just have not found a way to get a siege on to
Oh,
Zorin.
my goodness, Captain
He
Star.
used that barrage, I think. He used that barrage and got frozen in air, and Captain Star sniped him.
Yeah.
That's a terrible misplay for the Cowboys.
Putting himself in a little bit of dangerous range, but he needed to get the damage out. Luckily for him, he still has a Bastion here set up and protected. Boise State mere meters away in terms of the calculatory circle for that point, and Boise State throwing everyone at this, and we see what? A Diva! Let's go, Diva!
Yeah, unfortunately, Guac's, it's not Nerdy Bird on the Diva.
That's true.
Which this is
I
wrong.
bet she's so tilted.
And then Guac gets the play of the game. It's Diva.
That would be ironic and perfect. Please get play of the game.
I don't know if there was enough time on that Diva, though, as Boise State will get that
Yeah,
second
you're
tick.
right.
They will take game 2 and go to match point here.
Now, again, with the way that this works for those that are not necessarily avid Overwatch players, in this kind of setup, the losers of the previous match get to pick the map for the next one, and this one's kind of an interesting one as you see Modern Frost getting a wonderful rotation, and they couldn't keep track of him, so that barrage was completely unnoticed until, of course, you got sent back to spawn.
That was probably one of the most well-deserved play. I wouldn't even classify it a play of the game, just the best player of the match in that first push.
MVP.
Yeah,
Yep.
MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, that entrance was perfect because he basically did dunk on Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean, especially the intro, it's just too perfect. She needs some sort of basketball skin. And speaking of superstars, I do want to give a little bit of shout out to our audience here, making it super difficult to hear myself, even though I'm quite loud. But this kind of energy, it's contagious. I'm like bouncing over here.
It really is great to hear everyone cheering like you did see on the screen there. We don't just have Wyoming here. We've been saying all night that we also have Bishop Kelly and Mountain Home here as well. It's
So
great to have so
cool.
many people cheering. And we are going to give everyone in the arena and all of you at home to take a short break. Can Wyoming come back and claim this third round? We will see after this.
Boise State Esports is brought to you by Game Pants Arenas and Equipment, Omen by HP, and Archon Clothing, makers of official licensed Boise State Esports apparel.
Welcome back to our broadcast. We are currently in the middle of our Overwatch match versus Wyoming. The crowd's excited, we're all excited, and we're especially excited here on the desk because we have Doc Haskell joining us here as we take a look over the arena. What you doing here, Doc?
What's going on, guys? I'm here because, you know what, we don't have as many opportunities as we get close to graduation to kind of celebrate some of our folks. And we have a couple in our program that are graduating who've been with us since the beginning. We've only been at this for 2 years, and who've been with us since the beginning. And one of them is on stage now, and I don't know when his last start will be. Sulpan, Paul Vaughn, who's up on stage. I don't know when his last start will be, but we don't want to miss the opportunity to make sure that that we acknowledge and we let the fans thank him for everything that he has given to Boise State. Yep. A lot of people don't know this, but Paul started actually as the typical tilted jungler who was convinced that the Max E. Jarvan was the way to win it all. And he has evolved. He's evolved into a team player, which most junglers, you know, as we know, aren't. And not only that, but a team leader with the Overwatch team. He completely changed games. He's good at every game that he plays. He begged, for a long time for us to get a Minesweeper team, but there's just not a lot of colleges that want to play Minesweeper. So, but he's been with us since the very beginning, and I think they just threw up a picture of him. His first appearance. He's been to multiple Mountain West championships for us, and we're really really lucky to have him. One of the greatest things that can happen in our program is that people leave, and they leave because they have met all of their academic goals, and they can actually move on and do the thing that they came here to do. And Sulpan, it's bittersweet. We're going to miss him. I've never been here a season that he wasn't a part of it, and so it's going to be interesting in the spring. But we're so glad that he's moving on, he's graduating, and if there's anybody out there who wants to give him a job, you should let him know. Thank you, Paul. We love you.
That's been Doc Haskell. I just want to add, it's great that during this match we got to see him on an old favorite Reinhardt as well. If this is a celebration of Sulpan, seeing him pull off one last fat shatter for us.
Yeah, that's right. We tried to block it from being pickable, but he's got the cheat code. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for being with us. We are still in the midst of our match. Boise State Esports versus Wyoming in Overwatch. The Broncos versus the Cowboys. And this is in our series of esports games. We started with Rocket League, currently in Overwatch, and we are going to go to League of Legends finally. But right now, we're in the third match. Boise State is up 2-0. And Fish, what exactly does Boise State in your Wyoming, in your mind need to do to turn this around?
I mean, I think they've been playing fantastic. The players are here in the arena. You can see them on screen there as well. I think they're doing a great job going toe-to-toe with a Bronco team that we've seen in several tournaments throughout this semester. So it just feels like maybe, don't run the pharmacy on defense. That kind of felt like a weakness there. Don't sometimes waste your ult. We saw Slap Happy use a barrage and get sniped out of the air before I think even a rocket left the chamber there. So if they just clean up a couple of minor misplays, I think they would be fantastic. Maybe pull out a couple pocket picks, pull out like a Widowmaker and a Hanzo. I've been rooting for that forever. I think Double Sniper has a place in this meta. You just have to have the right comp. Do something like that. I think they could give Boise State a run for their money and probably take Game 3.
Yeah, and as we said before, picking your map is because you have lost the previous round. Most teams don't go to Route 66 unless you have a plan. So maybe it's a tribute or like a throwback to the old Western days where Route 66 was the only way around the town. But
the perfect setting for Broncos versus Cowboys, actually, when you think about it.
And again, we have to see the Boise State Broncos doing what they can to resist that charm and refusing to be settled down and tamed by these Cowboys. But maybe, just maybe, they dig in their spurs enough, they'll be able to pull it off.
I think they've got a great shot here. It's going to come a lot down to comp. We've seen a couple of different things here as we hear the Boise State chant going on in the background there. It's almost like I'm on the blue.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Well, the players are on the blue, actually.
That's true.
Yeah, there's blue turf on the stage.
I'm wearing blue.
Some of the original blue turf, by the way, too.
We're going to hop into this here. We are going to see Boise State pulling out a late A couple of different swaps there for the Broncos there, but right now Solpan is having a fantastic flank. If only the Fat Chatter was up. Immortality Field from Viking Pilot is going to go down. Zorith will be the first one to fall there, and the Broncos are going to keep up that offensive pressure. Solpan will take down Euphoria. B-Boy to follow as well. Viking Pilot goes down to Solpan. Does get frozen there by Slap Happy. Him and Trenton 1-2-4 are the only ones alive. Trenton falls, and now it's just Slap Happy trying to do what he can. Going to put out an ice block to buy time for the rest of his team, but he is going to fall as well, as Lake on Junkrat is in the spawn for some reason.
He's in the spawn. He's doing what he can, but he does have 96%, which is the highest amongst everyone. So he's doing something right.
He's waiting for a fat rip tire, can we say?
I don't know.
Double
I don't know what's
trap.
happening.
He set up a double trap. He's waiting for a sneaky member of Wyoming, maybe a squishy member from Wyoming, maybe Viking Pilot on that Moira, throw right into that trap and just fall. Riptire is going to come out here from Lake, as we will get that camera right here. He's going to sneak up on the members of the Cowboys. He's going for something crazy, but unfortunately took slightly a wrong path there. He will not end up picking up a kill. There was a potential there. We will see Trent 1-2-4 is going to take down Nerdy Bird. Modern Frost can teleport in on the back line. He'll take down Euphoria. He's got a Wraith form away, though. No healing pack for him, as that was stolen away. Beat Boy will get the rest of the Cowboys are back at full strength.
A little bit of a cheeky, but they do have to keep on this point as they are going to continue forward. A lot of damage on the Modern Frost. He gets taken out, and Trenian is going to go damage heavy in the side of things. D'Angelo having to pop the ult, but the Coalescence on the side of Wyoming now gets popped. A lot of damage and healing going to be mitigated, but both teams falling dangerously low. The Buzz +1 being negated by that -1 on the other side. Block has an ultimate, but the sound barrier is not something that they even have access to, and Wyoming putting up a fantastic defensive front.
Nerdy Bird for it felt like forever, which was really probably 3 seconds, and Overwatch was at 5 HP, which is incredible to me that they were able to stay alive for that long.
Doing a little Basilisk impression.
Yeah, basically. Unfortunately for the Broncos, they do have to regroup. They do have those two Ultimate Supercharger and the Gravitic Flux, and we've talked about it before. You can use that Supercharger to build up the rest of your ultimates. Lake, though, going to do a lot of damage, but D'Angelo will be the first one to fall Slap Happy on that pharmacy. Unfortunately, tried to boost himself. Lake did right into a bridge, so that a flank will not happen.
It's too busy pointing those finger guns everywhere. You got to be able to aim everything else.
Oh my goodness, I just took a look at the ult count for both teams, and this is going to be an insane engagement coming up here.
Key is to not throw all of them at the wall and have some of them for that second fight, as the Broncos are going to come out of that tunnel. They're going to hop right onto the Cowboys. We are going to see Zora take a lot of damage. Gravitic Flux from Guas going to be used on a couple members there. Death Blossoming shuts that down. Modern Frost is going to shut down the rest of the Cowboys. He'll pick up 2. Sound Barrier and the Supercharger came out as well. B-Boy will fall. So for the Broncos, as you mentioned, Jim Mountain, they threw every ultimate at the wall. The Cowboys still have all 4. See if they want to use them here to maybe shut down the next fight.
Yeah, the hopes of Wyoming went up much like the Gravitic Flux and also went down like a Gravitic Flux.
Most of the members didn't come down from that Gravitic Flux.
True.
They just died in midair. Boise State will get to that first point. They'll extend the clock. We are under a minute now, but now we're up to 3. You have to be very careful, though. We do see the Barrage is available. Gravitic Flux, Supercharger, and Valkyrie all up for the Cowboys. That is a lot of damage that could come out very quickly here against the Broncos.
Lake coming up from behind. I want to see some sort of elimination here.
Coalescence is going to come out from D'Angelo. Euphoria will use the Supercharger as well. Viking Pilot going to use his own Coalescence. And Lake the first ones to fall. We're going to see D'Angelo go down as well. Solpan and Modern Frost will join, so the Cowboys are going to get a near team wipe there. See Nerdy Bird get punched down, and they use just one ultimate. That's fantastic.
Yes, the old management on Wyoming was insane there. They only used the Coalescence. That was such a great engagement for them.
It's just a regular ability, so I don't know what's the hype about.
That's true, the Coalescence.
So they really use no ultimate.
Right.
We are going to see a swap, though, off the Junkrat onto the Widowmaker for Lake, and to see if he can get some of those sneaky snipes there. The Barrage! You got to try and snipe it a little bit earlier there, Lake, as we're going to see a double kill, but Slap Happy, I think he hit a wall or a shield at some point. He will go down. Viking Pilot will take out Lake as well, so the Cowboys have been stalwart on defense here. As soon as the Broncos capture this first point, we will see a McCree come out from the side of Boise State now, trying to find hit scan to shut down Slap Happy on that fair. He has been all over the place. And oh, by the way, the Cowboys still have 2 ultimates, as the Broncos are going to jump right on. Gravitic Flux is going to come out, hit 3 members of Boise State. Valkyrie will come out for B-Boy as well. Viking Pilot the first one to fall. Solpan will join him. Euphoria and D'Angelo go down as well. Zorith loses the battle of the Reaper, so the Broncos have to feel very confident right now. Death Blossom going to come out. Trent 1-2-4 will be the next one to fall. B-Boy will go down as well, and Lake just putting shots in on Slap Happy finally takes him down. The Broncos will win a fight for the first time since getting that point.
Yeah, it was just the extended fight, and Boise State having a phenomenal spawn here made it so Wyoming just went staggered, had no choice but to be outnumbered in terms of players. So Boise State getting a little bit of momentum as they have been put on the full break. Even that E-brake was pulled there on that payload for quite some time.
We do see just the one ultimate available. It is the sound barrier on Nerdy Bird. So that will be something that they can use, especially against that Death Blossom that's about to come up. But they're going to use it immediately there. Coalescence is going to come out from Viking Pilot. Sorath is going to use that Death Blossom, but he's got a lot of shields to eat through. Light will take down Zoris, so no eliminations on that Death Blossom Supercharger. And the Gravitic Flux are going to come down as well. Coalescence comes out from D'Angelo. That'll pick up a kill. Nerdy Bird is going to fall. Trent124 and Euphoria died as well. So the Broncos are
my
confident.
goodness!
Slap Happy gets stacked down
Wow.
by Guac. B-Boy follows as well. A 10-player killer streak for Guac on that Sigma. And the Broncos, with just 30 seconds left, should get this second point.
The halt into the accretion, that was just dirty.
And unfortunately for Wyoming, with as Sweeney an ultimate as Death Blossom is, the past 2 times that Wyoming's tried to use it with Zoria, he hasn't gotten any mileage off of it. And now he's facing the full recharge. He has to get back up to 100% again if he hopes to. The Deadeye is going to pick up 1, although I was hoping it would pick up more just to prove you wrong, Fish.
I was about to say, never use Deadeye. You're never going to get more than 1 kill. And by the way, he died at the same time. Slap Happy is going to go down at respawn. Euphoria will fall to the Broncos, continuing to push forward. No supercharge used there by Euphoria to help the team build those Death Blossoms like you were talking about, Jim Mountain. I feel like that might have been something that could get been back in this fight. Trent124 and Viking Pilot will go down. Modern Frost popping off. Zorath B-Boy will fall for the Cowboys. They probably have 1 fight left, and unfortunately, there's a Death Blossom up for Boise State. They're probably going to use that, but the Cowboys do have 3 ultimates. We're going to see a Barrage, Valkyrie, and a Supercharger all come out here as well to sort of stave off the Broncos' last push.
Yeah, this has to be something Boise State has to be careful of, because if the Wyoming Cowboys are able to get this off, the Death Blossom is going to be the first thing to engage, and Boise State's eliminating and demolishing Wyoming's health bars, completely enabling them to not do anything. They weren't able to get even off the point.
Unfortunately for the Cowboys, they immediately walked right into that Death Blossom there for Modern Frost. No one gets to the payload to stop overtime, and the Broncos put up a good showing there. The Cowboys know exactly what they have to do, get all 3 points to go into overtime.
They did have some good engagements there, and 39 seconds left in overtime if they force overtime for the Broncos. That certainly isn't that's manageable. If Wyoming puts up a good, yeah, they can go faster than that if they put up a good offense.
They just need Sonic. Sorry. I'm
no,
so sorry.
You're not going to get a Sonic
They need Lucio,
here.
though. I think Lucio is paramount, because with the way that these ultimates work, they're very easily mitigatable from that sound barrier. As we saw, Nerdy Bird stop the entire opportunity for Wyoming to retaliate with their own Death Blossom. Although, where's the May? When you're able to do not only that much damage in an area, but then add that much CC in an area, that kind of combo is detrimental and devastating to a whole entire team.
Well, it definitely feels like Slap Happy is very happy, no pun intended, on that fair. Thank you, spectator, trying to see just how sturdy that door is if we get to it. But that is the problem with the Farmer Mercy comp, is there's not a good second DPS that fits with it, Jim Mountain.
I mean, just before the fight starts, I know this is designed for gameplay first and foremost, but I never get the concept of this route here. It goes from a diner to a locked door for a Rebel. I mean, who thought that this road was going to be a well-traveled road where it is? It doesn't lead anywhere or anything. It's just
a diner to a gas station, and then you have to turn around because that door is locked.
Yeah, for people who want to... because they can't get to it from any other place from the diner. There's a canyon and a cliff on either side.
Do you want to drive on this? Because there's a giant train wreck right here, and I don't think this is a safe road at all.
No, this road is not safe, and it has not been safe for the Cowboys. As we do see a Hanzo picked up from Boise State.
Oh, really?
Love to see that. Maybe the Dragon Strike going to come out and pick up a bunch of kills.
Is that also a Junkrat?
Yes, it is also a Junkrat.
Oh.
Boise State has a lot of bursty damage and a lot of AoE from the Junkrat, and a lot of single target there from Modern Frost. We did get the May coming out, though. You did want to see that, but Zorath is going to be on that Bastion Immortality field. The first thing to use. That Pirate Ship is rolling along. Lake taking a lot of damage, gets frozen up by Slap Happy. He will have to run away, though. Junkrat has a lot of mobility, but he will go down to Trent124, and that Pirate Ship for the Cowboys is pushing along.
Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job defending. Zorath's going to pick up another one as well. Modern Frost can do what he can to be the legless of his team, but he gets halted down and gets instantly taken out. Wyoming showing a lot of promise on this offensive play.
Usually don't hear about Cowboys on pirate ships, but that's exactly what we're seeing here from the Cowboys. You put a bastion in the middle, you put a shield on both sides, and that ship just smoothly sails right along the concrete, right to that first point. 5 minutes left on the clock already for the Cowboys. They made quick work of that.
I mean, I'm disappointed. Boise State has been the only team to do a McCree, so come on. Wyoming, you're good at McCree. I guarantee it'll work for you.
Well, okay. Well, now that Baratel has said that, I can guarantee it won't work.
You don't think it's going to happen? Just like a lot's going to be happening here, the amplification matrix is going to be huge. Legs get frozen up, and Boise State trying to rotate and switch the comps. Not able to get access to Sebastian until the very end of the team fight. Modern Frosty's going to be stunned. He's not able to put out the damage he needs to. He's just going to get taken dangerously low, but the lifesteal passive of his is going to keep him topped off. Is it enough for him to 1v3 as he does so? No, getting frozen, and Slap Happy's going to slap him down. Any chances of Boise State holding us off relies strictly on Soulpan as he sits 1v4 on the payload.
Don't take anything from Nerdy Bird. I believe they're there as well on that. Lucio Supercharger is going to come out, as Slap Happy will be the first one to fall. Immortality Field will come out from the Cowboys here as the Broncos just building that ultimate Modern Frost. Wants another sneaky flank there, but unfortunately he walked right into Zorith. He is going to go down. The doors will shut on the Cowboys, so they will have to find a different route there if we see them sort of walk around a little bit, go right to that payload. Now we're going to see Euphoria Supercharger come out there. Trent 124 will go down. The Valkyrie comes out from B-Boy. We'll see Guac, the first one to fall. Slap Happy going to throw down that Blizzard. Immortality Field will join. That is going to be more than enough for the Cowboys to easily wipe the Broncos and start pushing that payload once again.
This bastion has been so lucrative for Wyoming here.
They're doing it pretty fast too, might I add, just like one of their win conditions could have been. These have been Barato's keys for success for Wyoming versus Boise State. Brought to you by Legos. Wait, is he's not even playing the Bastion skin. That's not okay.
Well, good thing you Baratel. We've been joined by the Wyoming Cowboys Overwatch team, so you can go find Zorith after
I'll just
this
buy
match
him the skin
and
flat
give him
out.
a little bit of his time. Because we are going to see the Broncos engage here. On top of the Cowboys here, Trent 124 is going to use that Gravitic Flux. Immortality Field will come out,
Oh my
Slap Happy
goodness.
and Zorith are going to fall down to the Death Blossom there. Modern Frost putting out a ton of damage. Dirty Bird uses Sound Barrier as well, and just like that, the Cowboys are going to have to run away. No Broncos for them to ride on as they just got schooled.
I do want to correct you, Baratel. You aren't sponsored by anybody. So
I'm not sponsored by anyone.
Yeah.
But my plays of the game.
No,
my
you're not.
keys to success.
No, you're not.
They're
okay?
sponsored by me.
Okay, yes, by you.
Thank you.
We see Boise State once again pushing the Cowboys back. Guac wants to use that Gravitic Flux. 3 members are going to go up, and I think only I think Immortality Field actually saved them. I didn't think any of them were going to come back down. D'Angelo is going to use that Coalescence. Viking Port Immortality Field is going to go down there. Zorith is going to use that tank form there, but he's taking a lot of damage, and Boise State was able to smartly fall back. They're going to bleed out that entire ultimate there, so Bastion not going to get. He will pick up 1 kill at the very end. Nerdy Bird maybe getting a little bit too aggressive there, but for now, Boise State is able to survive. Slap Happy going to fall down. The Valkyrie used by B-Boy there. Going to get a resurrect off onto Slap Happy. Nobody for Boise State was there. Supercharger is going to come out. Immortality Field, though. The Viking Pilot is going to keep Zorith just alive, and Happy Modern Frost can't do any damage to the Broncos. Not ready for that second Immortality Field. They're going to fall, and they're going to have to fall back.
Got jebaited there. Soulpan's
Yes,
like,
they
oh, I
did.
got Supercharger. I can outdamage a Bastion.
Nope.
Oh, wait. He can't die.
Makes it a little bit harder there if you're Boise State. Means the Cowboys should be able to get to this point. A nice Maywall there from Slap Happy. Trapped any Broncos in here. So the Cowboys, 3 minutes and 16 seconds left on the clock to get to that last point and force us into overtime.
Now, despite the performance of Boise State on offense, this is actually the hardest point to get forward momentum on because it's so short. The spawns are in your favor on defense, and Boise State really needs to do a fantastic job not to get too staggered during these fights. One's going to go down as Boise State's going to be sent back. Walk, one of their crucial shielders, is going to be taken out, and this Bastion, again, is proving dividends for the side of Wyoming Cowboys. You know, Cowboys with a minigun, pretty dangerous.
Yeah, the Broncos have had no answer there for Zorith on his pirate ship. Lake in the background there trying to get a couple cheeky snipes out. He's not going to be able to do it. The Cowboys, by the way, have 3 ultimates to throw at the Broncos, and just Lake with that Blizzard finally coming up. Slap Happy will get frozen. D'Angelo's going to use that Coalescence. Modern Frost, the first one to go down, but Trent 124 and Slap Happy will fall. Immortality Field goes down as well, but Zorith doesn't need that. He'll take down Soulpan, get knocked off there. Lake is able to finally shut down that Bastion, but the rest of the Cowboys might be able to back him up while he respawns. They're all still alive. B-Boy goes down right as the Valkyrie comes up. Guac falls, but so does Viking Pilot. A very back and forth fight as now Euphoria falls, and the Broncos finally can slow down that Cowboy push, at least for now, but 5 ultimates are up for the Cowboys. We'll see if they want to throw them all at the Broncos, who just have that sound barrier, and a couple of them just above 90%.
This is kind of scary because, again, this is the make or break it, and there is roughly 1 minute and 10 seconds Wyoming needs to do in order to get this across the third threshold faster than Boise State.
Couple of fights left for the Cowboys here, so they don't need to throw everything at the wall immediately for now. The teams will just trade blows as the Cowboys want to go for a flank. Guac has that gravitic flux. He's going to use it on 2 members of the Cowboys. Zorth will immediately go down with some help from Modern Frost. We're going to see the Immortality Field fall. The Resurrect's going to come out, but it didn't matter. A Death Blossom from Modern Frost is going to pick up 4. Zorth falls for the second time, and it's a team kill for Boise State.
But they didn't commit any ultimates.
Yeah, I have to wonder if that was just baiting the ultimates out of Boise State, because now they have 6. They have 1 for each. This is going to be insane.
Now, they do only have a minute left, of course, but if that's said, as long as they fight on the point, they are going to be able to continue to push this forward. That is how the game works, and this is going to be the fight of the match here. Both teams using everything. The Blizzard's going to come out from the side of Wyoming. All the ultimates are going to come out from Wyoming, but no one has dived yet. Soulpan's going to pick up 1, going to go for 2. Lake and Soulpan. Modern Frost picking up 1 as well, and Boise State using what they can in terms of aggression, stopping Wyoming before they can even use their ultimates.
Yeah, I'm a little puzzled why they didn't use the supercharger there. If there's any ultimate that's going to start you off with the
swap off.
Yeah, they did actually.
Got one swap.
Off.
One swap.
But I mean, if you're going to start off an engagement with a bit of force, then put the supercharger down. If they were already committed to using ultimates, why not the one that helps you win the engagement first off?
Maybe they were trying, as we talked about, bleed some ults out for Boise State. Here comes the supercharger down from Euphoria. Modern Frost taking a lot of damage. Just a sound barrier available for Nerdy Bird. We'll be able to stave off a lot of that damage. Supercharger, though, solely going to be outranged here by the Cowboys. They have to be very careful. The Broncos gave that up. Here comes the Gravitic Flux from Trent124. Not sure hit any member of Boise State. Nerdy Bird is going to use that sound barrier. Soulpan will get frozen, though. Zorth is going to go down, but Slap Happy picks up another kill, this time onto Modern Frost. No res available as the Cowboys did swap off that Mercy. Lake will fall as well, and the Cowboys have to feel like they're getting the advantage here in overtime as Guac is taking a lot of damage. Soulpan is going to swap over to the Wrecking Ball here. The Broncos are so close to these spawns. They're able to get right back. D'Angelo going to use that Coalescent, that a sliver of HP, heal himself and the rest of the members up for Boise State. Slap Happy is going to use that Blizzard. He will get 2 freezes. We're going to see Nerdy Bird go down. Guac is taking a lot of damage as well. But Modern Frost has the Death Blossom. Just picks up Slap Happy before the Coalescence comes out from Viking Pilot. Euphoria takes down Lake. That point is so close, but the Broncos keep respawning. D'Angelo's going to go down. Just 1 member. Guac is the only one left alive. Soulpan is going to give us an overtime and contest it as well. Supercharger comes up for Euphoria, the second one in this fight. Zoreth picks up a double kill, and that might be enough for the Cowboys, but it finally is. As Lake goes down, we're going to overtime. Oh my gosh.
Just a critical amount of resources. Boise State using everything they can in the fights leading up to that final push. And Wyoming having the reservation, the calculations, they did their homework and said, we have the resources we need to get this over that threshold. Now, that being said, they did end that round with 0 time, but with the way it works, they both have an attempt to escort the payload as far as possible, and they both get a minute added to their allotted time bank. So Boise State sitting at about 1 minute and 40 seconds, whereas Wyoming has only got a minute to get that as far as possible.
Have to see how both teams want to approach it. For Boise State, have to be concerned. That first push for the Broncos when they were on offense was slow.
That door just snapped.
That's a sneaky door.
Observer, you're not going to get through today here. But no, for Boise State, you have to be careful. Your first push took so long that they were running out of time. So we're going to have to see here how the Broncos want to handle it. It's a little bit of a tricky sort of camera way here. As we
I like that tree. That's a nice looking tree.
The Observer has work cut out for him because both teams are here today.
We've officially run out of things to talk about.
Well, we can't see the comps now because both teams are here. The Observer has to be sneaky, so he can't make any
Well, I know, but of all the
it.
things to talk about, that's a nice tree.
Wasn't it McCree that knocked down this train?
You know, I am not a PvE player when it comes to Overwatch.
It's like in the cinematic for him versus Ash or something
I think
like that.
I believe No, I think he was on the train when it was hijacked.
Doesn't matter who hijacked what train. We're going to hop right into this fight here. We are going to see the pharmacy comp come out from the Cowboys, but Sulpan is right in their face. We are going to see Trent 124 and Euphoria fall, but Sulpan, Nerdy Bird, and D'Angelo are going to go down as well. Zorth will pick up Modern Frost, but that might have been an attempt by the Broncos to stall out some time, as we're already down to 35 seconds, and just now the points being pushed for the Cowboys. A misplay or a great play there by Boise State to distract them.
They did as much as they could, but they did falter, and this is a very far spawn, so, in the initial long run, not very beneficial, but a very cheeky play and an attempt from Boise State. I think Lake just likes finger guns.
Hey, if your real shots can't sometimes hit, the finger guns always hit. He's putting some shots onto B-Boy there, and Slap Happy trying to take that pharmacy out of commission. Slap Happy did get stunned, but fell behind the gas station there. Trent 124 will take down Sulpan for the first kill of disengage. Lake will pick up Viking Pilot, and we're already into overtime here. That's how quick a minute goes. Slap Happy going to pick up a kill. Zorith as well, and he already has the Death Blossom. Lake trying to do what he can. He just can't quite pick up Slap Happy. Guac is going to go down, so will D'Angelo. Lake falls to Trent 124, and for now, the Cowboys are going to be able to get this first point and just make it a little bit harder for the Broncos to win when they're on offense.
And they do get this threshold again, but they do not get any time, as you would see in a normal match. When it comes down to these nitty-gritty situations, they get no additive time to their point bank, and they have to stay on this payload, or they do run the risk of Boise State getting switched over to offense.
Broncos do have to be wary, though. We see Zorth has the Death Blossom up. B-Boy is going to have the Valkyrie up as well. Viking Pilot and Slap Happy very close. No one for Boise State besides that coalescence on D'Angelo is above 80%, so the Broncos have their work cut out for them as they're going to try and slow down this Wyoming push. Slap Happy taking a lot of damage, but for now, the Broncos aren't able to break through here. Coalescence is up for both sides. We'll see who wants to use it first. Modern Frost trying to get a cheeky flank. D'Angelo going to use that Coalescence. Viking Pilot answers as well. Euphoria, the first one to fall. Modern Frost is going to go down as well. Rabbinic Flux and Valkyrie were both committed by the Cowboys there. We're going to see 3 other members of Boise State fall. Guac and D'Angelo, the last ones alive, and they will slowly meet their fate as well. Modern Frost just squeezed bronze, but a team kill for the Cowboys, so they get to keep pushing along here.
This is a game right here. Wyoming is doing such a valiant effort, winning every single engagement so far, almost to the second checkpoint.
Cowboys.
They are fighting to stay alive in the series as well, because if this goes to Boise State's favor, that's the end of everything.
Going to be interesting here. The Broncos do have 2 ultimates up. The Cowboys still have 3. There comes the barrage down, but Guac immediately snipes Slap Happy. Deadeye is going to come out. That'll pick up one. Modern Frost didn't get anything with the Death Blossom, but a Gravitic Flux, and that might be it for the Cowboys. It's just Soren left alive. He's going to pick up one with his Death Blossom, but there's only so much he can do. So we're going to see it. The Cowboys get 1 checkpoint, and 85 meters is the Broncos' goal.
And they do have a little bit of extra time to do it, but again, 1 minute and 40 seconds in the game of Overwatch is not very long at all. So that being said, they pretty much have to stick on the payloads just as much as Wyoming had to.
Yeah, let's see if the Cowboys pull off the same idea that the Broncos did of distracting them on the spawn. Thought it was a good idea, burned 30 seconds off, but unfortunately it left Boise State open to a very long push because, as you mentioned, Bertel, that spawn is so far back once you die on defense.
And much like we saw Boise State getting such mileage with the Pharmacy, we also saw that a lot in this overtime. You saw Lake on the McCree was trying everything he could to pick them up. No, he couldn't land it. And that allowed Wyoming to just go on this absolute tear on offense. They almost got to the second checkpoint. That was so impressive. And Boise State, they have more time, but it's a tall order to make it that far.
You know who doesn't have a hard time dealing with Farah or Mercy?
A Diva?
Maybe. No, yes, Diva. But I was more speaking about Torbjorn.
Oh,
the Turk can just go wherever
I'm sorry,
he wants
we've
to.
been talking all night about wanting to see
I've
Nerdy Bird
switched
on the
gears.
Diva.
We've already seen
You
Diva.
switched gears on me at the last moment.
I've switched mechs on you.
Yeah,
sorry.
Fish is just here solemnly shaking his head as we argue.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, I don't think if time is of the essence, Torbjorn is the last hero I think we will see in this game here, as we do see Wyoming setting up on defense. The Broncos know what's ahead of them. The Hanzo isn't a terrible idea. Maybe thought the Pharmacy was going to come out from the Cowboys, but instead, Boise State will bring their own Pharmacy there. As we see Modern Frost and Nerdy Bird on that. Lake going to get boosted up by the Ice Wall. Slap Happy will take him down. We are going to see a res onto Lake. We'll see Trenton take down the Immortality Field from D'Angelo. A perfect Ice Wall lets Modern Frost get on the back line. Unfortunately, it's not working as Guac, Sulpan, and Lake fall again. B-Boy and Viking Pilot have gone down, but the spawns being scattered for the Cowboys means that we're going to be able to get back to the point so much quicker, so the Broncos have to fall back, and we're already down to a minute.
Not a lot of time. Boise State needs to find a way to break through this defensive front from these Cowboys, but they may have done their homework in regard of knowing where Boise State struggles. A lot of damage coming out from the sky here as Boise State continues to chip away. Modern Frost going to do what he can on this fair, getting boosted by Nerdy Bird, and both of them trying to play to the strengths and advantage of the line of sight. Ice Wall's going to come out. Accretion from Guac is going to be huge, but it does miss everyone, and unfortunately for Boise State, Slap Happy is going to be huge. Modern Frost with the Rocket Barrage taking out 3, but on the other side, 3 get taken out from Boise State. A little bit of a res. Walk is going to spawn as well, but they do have the shorter spawn, and I did call it. The Torbjorn is here, but a little bit too late. Boise State continuing to push this forward, and again, they're at the point where they cannot leave this payload. But for a moment, Boise State has a reprieve, and they can catch their breath, set up their remote pirate ship if they stick with that Torbjorn.
Looks like they're going to stick with that Torbjorn for now, building that
so
remote
happy.
pirate ship. Airtel, you called it once again. The Broncos, as you said, cannot afford to leave this spawn, and they have a long way to go. Only one ultimate up on both sides. Coalescence up for Viking Pilot and the Implication Matrix up for D'Angelo. Nerdy Bird just got it, that Valkyrie as well. Immortality Field is going to come down. Coalescence comes out from Viking Pilot. Here comes Soul Pay with Supercharger. Matrix going to come out as long with the Valkyries. Boise State is going to be doing a ton of damage. We are going to see a lot of members dropping very low. Euphoria, the first one to go down. Gravitic Flux with Trent 124 is enough to save the Cowboys as well. The Supercharger will go down. The Blizzard comes out from Slap Happy. It's the Blizzard Blossom, but Zorath is only going to be able to pick up one. Sopan has to stay alive. A res from Nerdy Bird is going to keep Modern Frost on that point, so 2 members of the Broncos plus Lakes are able to get there, saving them. I thought that Blizzard Blossom was going to be the death of Boise
Honestly,
State.
I thought so too, but ultimately they were able to push off, and the crucial pick that Wyoming had to commit to was Sopan. If that shield, if that halt, and if that fortify were left on the table, there was no hope for Wyoming to get them off that payload.
We will see a swap. Guac is going to go over to Wrecking Ball just for a moment there. I guess he is going to swap back to Sigma once they realize that the Broncos had control at this point. We'll see a swap over to Moira as well from D'Angelo. 2 ults up for the Broncos, Barrage and the Molten Core. B-Boy has the sound barrier, though, to stave off both of those high damage abilities. So Boise State has to be very careful when they commit this, and Modern Frost is setting up for a Barrage, and here it's going to be used. Trent 124 is going to fall. Lake's going to use his as well. Euphoria will go down to the turret. Modern Frost is going to pick up Slap Happy. We're going to see Trent 124 as go down as well. B-Boy and Viking Pilot will join him. Zorath as well, a team kill for the Broncos, and they might be able to push this very close to how far the Cowboys got.
I'm not tooting my own horn, but because of the fact that Lake was able to Molten Core the entire escape path from Wyoming, they had no choice but to run into the payload. And who was there waiting? Modern Frost with the Rocket Barrage.
Wyoming is finally playing the McCree on their
It's time!
Everyone's a bit happy
We're
now.
thematically happy
yeah,
now.
Yeah, everyone's been thematically happy. We've got the Torbjorn, we've got the McCree, and we've got this final engagement coming out here.
We're going to see the sound barrier used by B-Boy, as well as Viking Pilot is going to use that Coalescence. Lake's turret will be the only one that goes down. Euphoria will fall. Slap Happy will punch down Lake, so it is a 5-on-5. B-Boy, though, will go down. Soulpan joins as well, so it's still even strength from both sides. Modern Frost, I think he shot a rocket and he almost killed himself. That might be the difference maker there, as he's going to go down. Nerdy Bird follows. Guac is the last one alive. Can Lake get there while Guac buys time? No, I don't think so. So the Cowboys on against match point will force game 4.
That was such a great performance there. I cannot give enough praise to Wyoming. We've seen matches like that. Actually, on Route 66 has been
specifically, yeah.
It's been the comeback map all this season when teams have been faced with either you pull off a reverse sweep or not. It's been on this map with both Boise State and now Wyoming finding it in their hearts to fight back and pull out a win on this stage. And it might be for that reason only that Route 66 has been one of my favorite maps to see this season.
It's so weird. Wyoming was able to stave off Boise State when down and out almost. They switched to the McCree. They turn to their mascot and say, please, Cowboy, we give you our energy. McCree saves the day for them.
We are currently in the middle of this Overwatch match. It is Boise State versus Wyoming, the Broncos versus the Cowboys, playing Overwatch in this night where we are playing so many games against Wyoming, who has traveled here to the blue to face off against the Broncos.
And this is just so exciting. I mean, when it comes down to it, both of these schools are impressively good at what they're doing. And, when it comes to Rocket League, when it's the Overwatch, we've seen both teams put up a tremendous front. I can barely contain myself for League of Legends, though.
Well, I know someone else in this arena who won't be able to contain himself for League of Legends, but we will see more of him shortly.
Yeah.
Right now,
if he has a voice.
If he has a voice. Right now, as we are getting back into Overwatch, now Boise State, for the first time, has the map selection as we go into Assault. What do you think they'll choose?
I really hope it's not Lijiang Tower, but they always pick Lijiang Tower. And it's going to be Night Market, and we all know how Night Market goes. Other than that, though...
No, Assault, not Control.
Right. So if it's an Assault map, that's a tough choice. Boise State's very rarely in this position.
Yeah,
so
there's Volskaya, Hanamura.
I think it might be Hanamura. A lot of the time, Boise State seems to be pretty successful either through normal play, going through that first initial choke point on offense, or any sort of cheeky symmetric combo that it can utilize on that map specifically. But again, it's hard to say. Alternatively, we might see Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, we haven't seen that. I don't know if I've seen that really at
Forever.
all. Yeah, it's been so long since we've seen it. We have seen Hanamura before. I think we've seen Volskaya a little bit times, but you're right.
We have two high schools here, right? We have
yes,
Mountain
we
Home
do. We have
and Bishop Kelly.
Yes.
Why haven't we done this yet? If you are here to support Bishop Kelly, let me hear you. That was a little nerve-wracking for a second. If you're here to support Mountain Home, let me hear you. Oh my! Okay.
That's a redeeming yell for the half second that you didn't
so
hear
scared.
it cheer. On the desk, everyone's heart stopped for a half second.
It would have been very ironic if I were to call that out and then no one say anything. That would have been more perfect. So, Bishop Kelly, we'll get you next time.
They weren't ready for it. You caught them off guard, Beartail.
That's fair.
You got to give them a redemption shot there. But right now, Wyoming has the redemption shot.
That's true.
They were up against match point. They forced a game 4. Reverse sweeps are a lot of fun. We see them a lot for some reason. It's weird how often you see a reverse sweep.
It's momentum-based.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Get in your own head, maybe, oh, yeah, we could do this. The other team says, oh, no, man, this team's a lot better than we thought. So for Boise State, got to get back in it a little bit there after a great play by Wyoming, a great job there on Route 66, pushing for so long in overtime. So I'll be curious, as we mentioned, Jim Mountain. The Broncos have map choice, something we don't always see. Curious what they're going to want to go with.
It is something that you need to ask, but before we get to that point, of course, we'll eventually see the map. We have to give credit both to both teams, more specifically to Wyoming, for being put up against the wall in the face of losing the entire series. The mettle, the grit, and the mental fortitude to say, guys, this is our last chance. Let's use everything that we can. And it proved out successful for them.
And speaking of using everything they can, I liked the ult economy on
Super
Wyoming.
smart.
Yeah, you saw so many engagements where they had the discipline to hold on to their ults and save them all for another engagement when it really mattered. It's a lot like, some advice that my parents gave me on spending money, but it applies to ultimates too. It's like, can I say no to spending this now and save it for a time when I really need it later?
If I wanted to put a money value on any ultimate, I'm pretty sure that the most expensive ultimate, it can't be Coalescence. That's like, buy one, get one free.
That's buy one, get one free, yes.
But the ultimates, maybe Gravitic Flux. It takes the longest to charge. It's hard to get, executed properly because the telegraph, the animation, it's just so delayed. So in order to get a valuable, high dollar amount Gravitic Flux, you have to be on point. You have to be almost an accountant.
Yeah, you have to also be very smart on things like barrage. When are you going to use it?
Yeah.
Make sure you don't barrage right into a Sigma shield.
You use it as soon as you get it, right?
No, because exactly as you get it right into a Sigma shield and you fall over. So I think Wyoming did a fantastic job. There were times I was like, wow, really? You're going to save that there? There's a couple final fights where I'm like, really? They held on to that and then it proved worthwhile. So we'll see if they can do it here. A little bit different map, though. Doesn't always lend itself to holding on to ultimates.
Yeah, it's rare to see 6 ultimates at all at any point on any team.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were able to say, let them use their ult to defend. We'll go ahead and push through whatever we need to get through that final punch hole on that punch card.
Well, no matter what the outcome of this, we can't give enough thanks to Wyoming for actually putting in the
100%.
effort to come here, because it's our favorite time here when we have different schools facing off against us and people in the crowd who are willing to cheer for the other side. It just brings up the energy so much here, and we can't thank Wyoming enough for doing that.
It's such a rare occasion when Boise Boise State falters that other people start cheering, because that doesn't happen very often here. We're usually filled to the brim with Boise State fans, so having it the other way around kind of gives you that competitive spirit.
Yeah, it really does, and it's just fantastic to see another team want to drive up here from Wyoming, show that they have that much to prove. It's fantastic for them to be here. It makes it for a great atmosphere when it really just feels like a giant LAN party as opposed to two people playing each other, and you can't really put a face to a name, so it's been fantastic to have them here.
Yeah. And, I mean, we look forward to more matches. We do have to wait to see what map. And it's going to be Horizon Lunar Colony. I did not anticipate this. This is a great map. It's soon to be taken out of rotation.
Yeah, another map that we haven't seen a lot, if at all, I believe.
At all. I think this is the first time.
Well, we rarely see Assault come out when we watch Boise State play. They're usually getting the matches over so quickly. The fact that we're at a fourth game just shows how much resiliency Wyoming has to force it to this and really introduce all of us to maps we've forgotten about.
Yeah, and this map in particular does offer a unique set of just multitudes of different comps that are wonderful here. That double sniper comp that you're looking forward to, Fish, is devastating here if you're able to execute it correctly on defense, but not so much on the attack. Whereas a Symmetra comp using these cheeky little corridors and space doors out into the moon's atmosphere can be pretty instrumental in getting a nice cheeky rotation.
Yeah, we'll have to see how both sides want to play. For the most part, we've seen mirror comps come out from both sides, so I'll be curious to see if anyone wants to make a shift and maybe if another team follows them on.
Shift. I see what you're saying. You want Somber to be played.
Here you go. That might be a game changer. We've seen some crazy EMPs these last few weeks. Just 6-man EMPs as we hop into the game. We are going to see an Orisa, though. That and a Symmetra. There's the Symmetra, though.
I'm so smart.
It's going to be on Captain to start. We do see the teleporter created. There's Soulpan and the rest of the members going to follow in. They want this flank onto the members of Wyoming. They're going to get just that. I don't know if anyone on the Cowboys was ready. Zorith was, as he'll take down D'Angelo to get this fight started. Soulpan will take down Euphoria there. Trenton 124 taking a lot of damage as well. Zorith will fall as well. There goes B-Boy. So the Broncos in complete control. Slap Happy and Trenton taking a lot of damage as well. A fantastic teleport, just like you said, Baratel. That allows the Broncos to easily capture that first point.
It's so much easier to call the game, because would I be able to do that in actuality while I'm playing?
No.
No, not a chance.
I'll speak
not a
for
maze
you.
chance
No.
in Reaper's domain. No way.
I'll speak for you. No, you wouldn't.
No,
okay, you'd miss the teleporter, it would just die, and it would be a nightmare for the rest of your team.
Okay, you've called so many things tonight. You're calling. What are you calling next?
This is it. I mean, this is the pinnacle of calling, is calling a Symmetra. Now, that being said, though, there's still the opportunity for a Torbjorn. It's not going to be seen, so in all actuality, I think this is the most extreme thing that we'll see in terms of those off-meta picks, as Boise State wants to commit those turrets down to that low ground, and then as soon as they drop down, this fight is going to be explosive. A lot of damage being exchanged here. Coalescence is going to come out from the side of Wyoming. Viking Pilot is going to do what he can to guide his team to safety, but Boise State fantastically using that line of sight, and their own Coalescence being utilized. There's a tandem amount of ultimates. The freeze is going to come out from Slap Happy, but it does not get anyone. Then the ultimate's going to come out from the Symmetra. That huge wall is going to be huge. Freeze is going to come out from the side of Boise State. The sound barrier is not going to be used because Boise State does not have the charge, but Boise State doesn't need it as the Broncos charge forward in tandem with that supercharger, pushing Wyoming off the point.
Broncos did commit a lot of ultimates there. Supercharger did let them get that Gravitic Flux and Death Blossom ready to go as Block and Captain Star pick up 2 more eliminations. Slap Happy going to go down to that Death Blossom. Soulpan will pick up Euphoria. Sound Barrier came out from B-Boy, but it only landed on one person, and that was Viking Pilot, and they're already dead. And the Broncos will storm through and
I have a prediction.
What's your prediction?
Ash. Boise State's going to play Ash defense, because both Modern Frost and Captain Star are phenomenal snipers. So if they're able to get through those shields, which Dynamite often lets you do have the opportunity to do so, then there's not going to be much in the terms of defense for the side of Wyoming.
I don't think I have ever seen the arena as full as it is right now, and what a great event. A university coming to visit us, 2 high schools coming to visit us.
Cool.
It's been such a great night so far.
Wyoming, once again, has their work cut out for them, but they know exactly what they need to do. They've been so successful sort of sieging this Bronco team down here. Maybe they'll copy.
Are those plants new? Have they always been there?
No, they've always been there.
I've just never looked at the ground, I guess.
Probably a smart thing. That's the last place you want to be looking at the in
I like to
Overwatch.
keep my chin up. Keep my head held high.
You got to get your head in the game, Baratel.
And that's what exactly Wyoming is going to do, because in the past we just saw them, up against the wall, barely able to pull off a fantastic W, but that doesn't mean that they aren't able to do so here. And Horizon Lunar Colony, as we saw, is such a hard map to defend against. So Boise State, again, has their work cut out for them.
We saw a sneak peek there of a Wrecking Ball demolishing the map. He did not like those
No
fences.
railing allowed.
No guard railing allowed in my house here, as we do see something set up there by, it looks like, Boise State. So I'll be curious to see how this map goes. I want to see if we see
Is
some
that
extra.
that's not a Zenyatta. No way.
Be fantastic.
That would be
You didn't call that one, though.
I didn't, because he's a pub stomper. And that's okay. We'll keep him there.
We are going to get into this game very soon. The Broncos ran through on offense, so the Cowboys know what they have to do now to try and shut down the Broncos there. We do see a cheeky flank coming out from that Wrecking Ball there. Wrecking Ball, an interesting choice, as he doesn't always do a lot of damage for the cheeky flank that's set up.
He's just annoying.
We do see the ice wall is going to come out, and here comes Solpan right onto the Wyoming team there, unable to get any sort of cheeky flank. And here come the Cowboys right on top of that Bronco line there. They want to get right up in Captain Star's face on that Bastion. He will get the first kill, though, as Slap Happy will go down. Solpan is going to knock all the Cowboys into that fight. Euphoria is going to go down as well, and now Solpan makes sure Viking Pilot can't get away. What a play by Solpan on that Wrecking Ball.
He loves this hero, and the fact that he's doing so well just proves that he's practiced so hard, and he just don't want to let his team down either. But a fantastic push. Him not being able to be turned on because of the mobility offered by the ball gave him the opportunity to push all members of Wyoming through their shields that they had already set up. And unfortunately for Arissa, she can't set them up as easily as what would a Sigma be able to do.
Yeah, that was also a great job there. We do see the
Sombra.
swap. That is a Sombra there on the side of the Cowboys there. Slap Happy. Going to want to see if he can get a big EMP or at least put some damage on the Captain Star, who right now has a ton of shields everywhere. Solpan is going to get hacked and immediately go down there as he tried another cheeky flank. Captain Star does reposition there. He's got his shields in front of him. The Broncos know there's a Sombra lurking around somewhere. We see the Cowboys very hesitant to run up. And Ice Ball is going to come out, a hack onto Modern Frost. He's going to have to jump down so he can't ice block there. Immortality Field is going to come out from D'Angelo. Won't save Captain Star as the Cowboys get right in Bastion's face, and they're going to wipe the Broncos. Modern Frost and Solpan the only one alive. Modern Frost taking a lot of damage. He is going to go down, but that ice block does mean the spawns will be very staggered for him as the Cowboys are already on that point. But the minefield from Solpan is going to pick up a double kill there. Modern Frost able to get a kill as well. A great job stalling for time on that May.
Yeah, doing what he can. Slap Happy done even needing the EMP. Those hacks are proving crucial for the effects of Boise State's demise. And again, Solpan not able to use his crucial abilities. There's so many characters on Boise State's lineup that are ability focused. They're not really much of those heavy left clickers. So Boise State struggling to get the defense set up here as Slap Happy decimates it, and now they have the EMP. So that one single target, mono silence kind of direction can now be applied to all members of Boise State, as they do often like to group up.
Do see a swap here. Solpan going to go back to that Reinhardt there. We see 3 ultimates up for the Broncos. Solpan, though, is going to take down Euphoria. He is making sure that the Cowboys cannot engage for now. Slap Happy trying to find a good place for that EMP as the Broncos now have 5 ultimates up. But guess what? None of that matters when you're EMP.
Silence, exactly. And those kind of moments, Wyoming is such a fantastic team when they do their call-outs. The communication is huge for this team. So the moment that someone is put out of position or unable to defend themselves, as you are when you're silenced, they are going to capitalize and pounce, much like a cowboy would in the wild.
Slap Happy is behind the Broncos team there. He wants that big EMP. He's going to use it. He's going to land on 4 members of Boise State. D'Angelo, the first one to go down. Trent 124 did follow, but Guac, while he's hacked, will fall. Modern Frost doesn't have enough time to get the blizzard out. Valkyrie comes out from Nerdy Bird as well. B-Boy will use a sound barrier to keep his team alive. Euphoria didn't get that shield, so he will fall. Nerdy Bird will get the res on to Guac, so the Broncos might be back at full strength. Supercharger going to come out from Guac immediately after that res. Solpan did go down. Take Form came out from Captain Star in the Immortality Field from D'Angelo. We'll see Slap Happy and Viking Pilot go down. A great response by the Broncos. Just felt like the Cowboys couldn't capitalize quick enough on that EMP. Zoreth will go down, and the Cowboys have to go back and regroup. I love the EMP. The Cowboys just didn't act quick enough on it.
Now, if we were to look at the balance of terms of ultimates in their accounts, Wyoming seems to have ultimates in the higher value range, whereas Boise State only has 2 ultimates, not even. They only have the 1 ultimate, and if Solpan can cash this in some sort of high interest rate account, it will prove huge for him. Unfortunately, he's going to be up against 4 ultimates from the side of Wyoming.
I love how you always take these fantastical matches and tie them to mundane examples, Baratel.
What's wrong with money? Money's cool.
Unfortunately, though, Solpan got hacked. He went down. Viking Pilot is going to use that Coalescence with the Supercharger there, and he's going to get a double kill. Now Solpan's the only one left alive there as the Cowboys are very close to sending us to another overtime. The Shatter came out, but it didn't matter as the Cowboys will get that point.
Yep, and again, Boise State kind of being decimated from the silences, those hacks being instrumental, and Boise State not respecting them to rotate. They weren't going for, the call-outs that you would for maybe a Doomfist who was on a cheeky flank. They didn't put in a lot of effort or resources into stopping the Sombra, and it's so hard to do so.
Yeah, as we will see here going into overtime, one thing on the Broncos' favor, they had over 4 minutes left on the clock, while the Cowboys had 2.5, so the Cowboys have got to work quickly.
It's going to be something that's going to be putting the pedal to the metal, and unfortunately for both teams, there's no payload to extenuate that overtime. If you can't get there, it's done.
Yeah, both teams will have to be very quick. The Broncos do have a little bit extra time on this if they do need to use
Roughly double-ish.
Yes,
double-ish.
So that the Broncos can feel a little bit more confident, but you never want to let that sort of bleed in and say, oh, well, we can lose this fight because we have more time.
You have to play like you're at the same level of time.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. You have to play. Basically, you have to play like you're always in overtime. You never want to play like you're just going to throw it away because you have extra time. So we'll see if there's a different comp either team wants to use. They were both wildly successful. The Cowboys did run a little bit of a blip against the Broncos when they were on offense that did slow them down just a little bit.
Yep, and that just means that the Sombra was proving instrumental, but she had to have time to set up where Wyoming had to play in the way that there had to be enough aggression on that front line for her to get those rotations, those stealth hacks from the back line. So if Boise State keeps awares of what's going on and say, well, hold on, they're pushing really aggressively, we need to turn around now and deal with the Sombra that's most definitely stealth.
We are going to see Slap Happy is going to stay on that Sombra. It worked so well for him the first time there. The Cowboys are going to take a very similar route that they went through last time, but Slap Happy is on that Sombra. Got to watch out for that hack. He is taking a lot of damage. Shields are going to come down. Modern Frost is going to jump in on that back line. He is flanking the Cowboys. I'm not sure they know he's there. He will get hacked, though, so he has no escape, and that might prove his demise, but an ice wall is going to save him on the side of Captain Star. Slap Happy with these hacks has been all over the place. He has been fantastic with them. Coalescence is going to be used by Viking Pilot. D'Angelo going to use his as well, but gets hacked during the middle of it. This could be the Cowboys' chance for success, but time is bleeding out very quickly here. Trent 124 and D'Angelo will both go down. We're going to see Solpan pick up Zorat there, and the Cowboys now have to go back and regroup.
Oh no, a little bit of cheeky play. They're going to sit on the point to make sure that Guac can't set up the shield, but easily dealt with, and that stagger actually might be to Wyoming's demise. They do not have a lot of time in their bank, so those kinds of extra seconds are crucial. Those little tiny grains of sand turn into huge grains of sand for opportunity. But where it's standing right now, Slap Happy is got their ultimate, and then with that, B-Boy is shortly to follow as well. And if Slap Happy can get this EMP, this will prove disastrous for Boise State.
I see the Cowboys take that same flanking route now, but Solpan wanted to jump right on top of Death Blossom up for Modern Frost, and he can go ahead and use it. EMP is going to hit 5 members, but guess what? It didn't hit Modern Frost, but B-Boy is able to get the sound barrier out. Captain Star will pick up a double kill. Modern Frost going to take down Euphoria Supercharger there as well. Captain Star does have the Blizzard if he wants to use it. Nerdy Bird will pick out B-Boy as well. The Cowboys running out of time and running out very quickly here. They're going to have to regroup and rush to the point if they can even get there. Maybe Slap Happy can sneak around. We do see him alive and keep this in overtime, but for right now, the Cowboys are up against it, and 4 ultimates up for the Broncos.
You have to be careful, and Wyoming just barely executing their play moments before or after Boise State had already committed their engage. If it was just the other way around, Wyoming would have been definitely contenders for this first point, but that's not it. Boise State still has to get 1 tick on this point in order to secure this game win.
That was a fantastic ice wall. You could barely see it below the bridge
nice
there.
Wall, more like it.
By Captain Star. Prevented B-Boy from getting to the point and keeping us in overtime. Cowboys would have had their work cut out from them, though, as all 5 Broncos did pop their ultimates as soon as the game ended. So Boise State, as you mentioned, Bear Tells, we see the Wyoming players. You can see them
Symetra.
on screen. You can see them on stage. They drove up from Wyoming to come up here and play Boise State on their own turf, and they've been doing a fantastic job. As you mentioned, maybe the Symetra comes out here for Boise State. Worked so well for them the first time. See how they want to set this up.
Now, that being said, Wyoming has always been, especially in this series, quick to adapt. They're able to respond with those cheeky things that maybe have first got them kind of off guard and off balance, but I don't know if the Symetra will be able to do it 2 times in a row because of the way and the nature of Wyoming as a team.
Yeah, Wyoming could be very well ready for that Symetra if it does come out, work so perfectly for Boise State. Well, let's see if the Broncos want to take a different route. The
What's
Cowboys,
DJ Roomba doing down there, huh?
he's making sure it's clean. There's a fight that's about
He's
to break
bumping
out.
into
Running
the wall.
into the wall.
Yeah.
That's what Roombas do.
I mean,
They
not
don't have
intentionally
eyes.
and repetitively.
Well, maybe his sensors aren't working.
Poor guy.
Hey, there's a lot of debris in here. Maybe it landed on his
He's
sensor.
actually the next hero, confirmed by BlizzCon.
A sci-fi futuristic setting, and the Roombas still run into the walls.
Yeah. Well,
Roomba 2?
What you gonna do? What?
Roomba 2.
Roomba 2. The Roomba-ing.
I don't think we'll see that, and I don't think that is the next confirmed hero that we saw at BlizzCon today.
There it
Another
is.
Symetra teleport coming out from the Broncos there. We are going to see a hack onto Captain Star, so he cannot set up those turrets like he would maybe like to. Guac going to get slumped there by B-Boy, who's on the Ana as well. Nerdy Bird going to get hacked this time. That's Slap Happy on Sombra. It's been so effective. Euphora is going to go down there. 3 members of the Broncos cannot be healed right now, and that will be the demise of Captain Star. Sultan gonna get hacked. He's taking Zorath very, very low, but unfortunately Boise State, that teleporter looked great at the start, but Slap Happy with those hacks. B-Boy with the Ana grenade that prevents you from being healed is going to mean that the Broncos are gonna have to fall back and regroup.
They adapted.
Yes, they did.
The Cowboys were prepared. They said they are going to do the same thing again, and they immediately collapsed onto the point, meaning that Boise State couldn't even get any progression towards that first tick.
And that hack by Slap Happy onto the Symetra. Captain Star could not set up any of his turrets that would maybe sort of make it a trap for the Cowboys to walk in there. He has been so fantastic on this Sombra all night long.
And now Slap Happy is going to do what they can. That Translocator is going to be a huge tool for him to get these cheeky last percentages to get that 100% for that ultimate. And EMP, again, can be the life or death of Wyoming as a success-rated team.
We are going to see the Broncos are going to keep pushing here. 3 ultimates up for the Cowboys State to run into, but Nerdy Bird is going to go down. Coalescence will come out from Viking Pilot there. D'Angelo going to hold on to them for theirs for now. As we do see Soulpan get hacked, the Broncos are going to starve that one out. They still have the EMP to go up against, though, so to be very careful of tracking where Slap Happy is, which is so hard because he can go invisible.
And an interesting pick as well. B-Boy switched to Ana, so that nano boost is going to be huge. Soulpan's going to be hacked again. And Boise State getting Death Blossoms. Wyoming sending them back to the spawn. They've still got some fight in them, and they're not done yet.
Interesting to note that they commit both the EMP and the Death
That's
Blossom
the combo.
there. Yeah, but I mean, they're already hacked. They can't do anything. Save the Death Blossom for a fight where it might really
They can't
matter.
defend against the Death Blossom. It's much like a Blizzard.
But who are you getting Nano Boost now?
Haha.
Exactly.
Orisa?
Yeah, good luck with that. The Broncos are going to be able to regroup. They do have a bunch of ultimates that are about to be online. Just a Nano Boost and a Gravitic Flux up for the Cowboys there. Hack onto Coacto, and Nerdy Bird is going to go down there. The Broncos, though, going to push forward without one of their supports. Might see a Supercharger come out here. For now, though, we're going to see a great Ana grenade, though. It's going to prevent Boise State from being healed up at all. D'Angelo holding onto that Coalescent Supercharger, and Gravitic Flux going to be committed by the side of Wyoming there. Going to pick up 3 kills onto the Broncos. They might have been just baiting out those ultimates, though, but then we're going to see a Supercharger used very late from Euphoria. The Broncos have to regroup, just 1:45 left on the clock, but that might have been on purpose to get some of those ultimates
Tremendous
used out.
reservation for that specific reason. Before that fight, they had only 1 ultimate. Now they have 3 that they can use in tandem, and the Coalescence, it's just a regular ability, so we always expect that to be up.
One thing, though, that does mean is Slap Happy is a little bit closer to that EMP, still at 56%, so he's going to have to see if he can build it. Nerdy Bird is going to be the first one that is hacked there. Just a minute left on the clock here. The Broncos have to get a tick here to win in overtime, and they have a bunch of ults if they want to be able to do that. Shield's going to come out as they're going to push right onto the point and try and bring Wyoming to them. Slap Happy does have that EMP. Soulpan uses Supercharger. Gravitic Flux used as well. The hack is going to come out, and we're going to see a kill onto Soulpan, but unfortunately for the rest of Wyoming, Slap Happy, B-Boy, Viking Pilot all fell.
Oh my
Zoran
goodness.
went down as well, and that might be what Boise State needed to take this point. We are going to see Trenton 124 get a couple of kills there. Nerdy Bird didn't get the sound barrier off. Trenton will fall. The Cowboys still contesting this point for now as the rest of the members are trying to get back. Now here comes the point. But we're going to see a swap over that's going to keep it alive just for now. It is so close to Boise State getting it. Viking Pilot's going to fall. Another member is there, but now they will go down, and the Broncos will take Game 4 and the match.
It was pixels away
from
going over to Wyoming. And again, being just milliseconds behind in the play, not be able to proactively go and start the fight, cost them the win.
I asked why you use that death loss, and this is why, so you can get play of the game right here.
It's worth it. Second play of the game, too, this whole series, so definitely some credence to speak about that the Reaper play. Where was the Doomfist? No Doomfist. What was up with that?
I mean, he just didn't fit.
you called for a Torbjorn. You got to be happy about that.
You got a Torbjorn, we got a Sombra.
I know, my power does have limits, unfortunately, but that being said, Wyoming's does not, because they put it, Boise State, they had to fight to the skin of their teeth in order to clutch up those wins. And even from the beginning, it was just a matter of, oh, that's super unfortunate. A little bit of unlucky things going on the side of Boise State for that momentum.
Yeah, Wyoming did a fantastic job. Love to have him here as well.
Yeah. I'd love to have him here again, because in both of the matches in Rocket League and Overwatch, we've seen so much promise, so much skill from Wyoming, and a match win, too, against Boise State in the most dire of circumstances. This is definitely a program that has so much promise and already so much talent on it, and I wish them nothing but the best, and I hope we can face off them again. We are going to be taking a short break, but we will be right back with more esports action.
Boise State Esports is brought to you by Game Pants Arenas and Equipment, Omen by HP, and Archon Clothing, makers of official licensed Boise State Esports apparel.
by Utah State. He'll play it around one, but Ace Pocket there, able to pick it up. Bounces it away from Rex as well, but a shot on goal by Soul Captain. Right to Cosmo Buster, just one Aggie back. Cosmo Booster tries to beat him, but a great save there by Rex.
And Soy Captain with the follow-up as well, the demolition happening immediately after there. LC Koro finds a good drop. He can't follow up the ball, though. Utah State manages to find a successful pass there, which is always good to see, as we have seen so many coming from Boise State. Speaking of great passes, lineups,
Just keep breathing, just keep breathing now, don't run away, we can still figure it out. Why do I do this? Why do I push you down? I'm reaching out. You think that I won't let you go? Well, look at me and racing bones. I wish that I knew what was wrong. What's wrong? You tell me, I don't know why I do.
is a little tastier, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion.
I think we did get baited because it actually looks like it is Tristan.
It is, all right. Okay, so
we
you were
baited
wrong,
ourselves.
Twitch viewer. Haha. They did call it early on. They're like, I'm calling Vayne mid. It was before the Tristana was even selected, actually. And they honestly, Tristana's so good in the mid lane right now. I don't know why you would swap that around. So I am glad to see that this is the case. It is a Vayne bottom, and Vayne and Nami is also a better combination, in my opinion, with the Condemn and having a bubble.
Yeah, they have the ability to stun someone up with a bubble and then condemn them into the wall to keep that crowd control chain going. It's also additional healing. It's just a very safe lane, gives you some disengage. So you have a lot of tools to keep this Vayne alive until the point where she hits that sort of hyper carry point and just starts ripping through the entire team with that true damage passive of hers.
And it is, again, I mean, what haven't I used? One of Knight Larry, one of Knight Larry's favorite champions. So we know that he can play this Vayne incredibly well. Nothing too crazy in the books yet for the start of this game. Pretty standard starts here. And no invades from Boise State. They're holding back a little bit on this one. I do love seeing Olaf, though, on the Boise State team. We have seen a lot of Cobalt running it. Right now we're seeing Notkoba there in the jungle. And Notkoba has kind of been playing back and forth between this team and the other team, so he's been getting a lot of experience in a lot of different areas of the game.
I do want to say it's an interesting mid lane choice by Garchomp to go for those corrupting potions. That gives you a lot of extra mana and sustain early on, which suggests that he wants to try and match the natural push of the Tristana.
Exactly.
Which will enable him to shove the Tristana out and to be able to roam to help his lanes, put a lot more pressure across the map.
Yeah, that is a great thing, because I didn't even recognize it, but the second you said it, that is definitely the idea. Ooh, that was a little scary push there from Will of D. He is going to back out of that one, though, after taking a bit of poke. Absolutely, that is the idea behind it, because the idea behind picking Tristana over Ahri there's really one idea in my mind behind that, and that is to have lane priority. And Ari does have the potential early on, especially for the lane priority. Already Dark Fields, though, finding his way up into the top lane. A flash out from Lelouch means that Flag and Drag isn't going to hit one. Tower is going to knock a little bit of health off of Dark Fields' bar right there. Just one summoner spell down, though, and an unsuccessful gank for Utah State.
Yeah, it's interesting that they try to gank Orin. As you see, Will D is going to land the taunt onto Zach. He will dodge the Killer Instinct, though. He's going to keep him alive. Interesting to note they tried to gank Orin. I never have liked it. Orin's just so tanky, especially the way Boise State plays it. It really just feels like you're wasting your time if you go up there. Prioritize different lanes. Try and get bot lane. Maybe you see that little new alcove you can hide in there as a jungler if the lane pushes up.
Smoker's pit, as they call it.
Yeah, but I don't like ganking Orin, especially with a pre-tier the Goddess Rise. I mean, there's just not enough damage in that game.
Yeah, definitely not enough. And I'm not sure if he was at level, I thought he was at level 2. He likely, you only get so much out of that. You either have the Runic Prison combo or you have the lockdown. So you'll have to make a selection if it is pre-level 3. And again, I'm not 100% certain. It might have been right at 3. The good charm there from the Ari. And a lot of damage coming out there from the mid lane on Boise State. Dark Fields finds his way down there. The Ignite, 2 flashes coming out. Will it be enough? No way! He survives it just barely. The flash coming out of Dark Fields, though, and the Ignite coming out of that Ari mean that, man, Tristana must be feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, that was a great job. I mean, using the rocket jump offensively will put you in those positions. Dark Field was there perfectly, but a great job by Thyglow Lamb. The rocket jump came off. Cooldown. He saved his Ignite. Maybe that Ignite would have even killed Guard Chop. I don't know if he was in range, but Guard Chop was also pretty low, but a great job there. Unfortunately, will mean he has to back first, which means lane goes over to Ari.
And because that rocket jump was initially used at the beginning of that fight, I'm surprised that Guard Chomp didn't stick around and do a little bit more damage, because it seemed like he threw down an orb, he threw down the Ignite and was like, all right, I'm good to back off because I've already taken so much damage in return. Had he gotten, one auto, though, off in that fight, it would have been the end and first blood over to Utah State.
It looks like they've actually kept their Tristana around in the lane for a little while longer just to soak up a little more CS. Does have that Doran's Blade to get a little bit of lifesteal, but overall, Ari with the Corrupting Potion is going to be a lot safer. We saw just a really dangerous Q come out and going to be sidestepped there by the Tristana, but only getting caught by one ability will spell elimination for this Tristana, so you have to be extremely careful.
The other thing it does is, as you can see on the map down there, it looked like Nakoba is on the Dragon. I don't know if he was able to get it. I think he ended up having to fall back. He did, and now they're going to re-engage for Utah State, but it kept the Ari away from checking the Dragon. We are going to see a teleport come out, though, so Utah State's going to fully commit. Meanwhile, though, they're going to trip on the Kaisa. There's 4 members there. Night Carry is going to dodge that charm. I'm not sure anything Boise State could do about this. This looks like it's going to be the first Cloud Drake, slowly but surely, going to go over the side to Utah State.
Now let's hope that Cloud Drake doesn't turn out to be the one that affects the Rift.
That would be a scary thing for sure. You would have Draco up there in the top lane, ulting all over the place. I mean, that is definitely one of the more busted ones for sure. So fingers crossed on when that shows up next. That'll be something different. I really like Mountain, actually. And I think the Mountain is really cool. I like the double pit entrance there. I think it's pretty tricky. It's a little more jungle focused because it's, still objective focused.
Indeed it is. I mean, I'm just curious. Great job there by Nakoba to try and do the Dragon. Unfortunately, I don't think he needed help. I mean, from my understanding, when I've done it, Olaf doesn't need help. It's just it takes time. Good job by Utah State rotating away. We're going to see a taunt. Almost lands on Zach. He is forced to flash away, though. So Utah State going to keep up their pressure right after that Dragon. So the Broncos have got to find a way to respond, maybe get a first blood, catch back up on the gold differential.
He definitely needed to be safer on that engage for sure. Good thing to point out that Olaf can do it. You just need the time. And there were way too many members of Utah State there for Nakoba to feel comfortable enough to stick around. And that's the thing. He broke away, but he was not able to re-engage because of how low he was on health and how far away the rest of the team was. So maybe a little bit of earlier navigation along those lines, too, might have been able to help. We still have teleport up for Lelouch there in the top lane. Potentially he could have come down and assisted with that one on the initial engage. But, I guess potentials are in the past, right?
One of the dangers of having this bot lane the way it is is that because you have the Vayne, you don't have a lot of ability to push, and you don't have a very powerful bot lane until the later stages of the game, which means a lot of that early game objective priority is going to go over to Utah State, unless Boise State can find a way to pressure in these lanes to keep priority over that area. They could be staring down the barrel of a very, very dangerous situation.
And Dragon should be a high priority. I was going to say maybe, you know, they're focusing more on Rift Herald, but you have plenty of time between Dragon spawn and that Rift Herald spawn. And there's the second Rift Herald as well, and that's not going to affect the map itself. So really high priority should certainly be on pressuring in that bottom lane. So a good job to Utah State for doing that. A good taunt there is going to hit Knight, carrying a lot of damage coming out from the Kaisa. But Nami is here. Zach comes to save the day. His presence alone sends that bottom lane back.
A very good condemn there actually ended up blocking the Justice Punch, keeping that from connecting just a little bit more damage. And sometimes that makes all the difference as the fight breaks out in top.
Lush is going to go on to Kodo Draco. Unfortunately, though, that's going to turn immediately on his face. He's going to get poked down. He's going to have to go back. Going to see a charm land on Thygolam in the mid lane. He will go boom on Garchomp. Unfortunately, not enough to kill him, but they are even in health. One thing to point out here in the bot lane is we do see they are both level 6, and neither for Boise State is level 6 as Darkfield try to gank is that Knight can't go for the recurve bow first item, so his AD is vastly limited compared to Keaton on Kaisa, so they cannot trade effectively right now.
And that is an interesting choice in, you know, maybe the thought behind it is to push the lane more, but if you don't have the damage behind your attacks, it's going to essentially equate to the same thing. So having more damage allows you to have those small moments of poke accessible to actually doing what you need them to. And oh my goodness, Will of the D is deciding to go under tower. He flashes out as we see the ult coming in from Lelouch. He gets charmed though, and first blood goes over to the Ahri. Will of D with the hero's entrance. It was very heroic, but nobody was there to witness it.
I'm not entirely sure what Boise State's plan was there. They did have the ability to try and collapse underneath the tower, but I don't think they needed to commit the teleport to it, especially not when Lelouch was so low already up in the top lane and then continued to chase, continued to use up the ultimate for it.
And I think the biggest thing was the ultimate, because it was coming in at that point, you know, kind of like those Gnar boomerangs. Everybody can see where it needs to be, or where you need to be to knock that back. So the second he was in position to hit that ram, the Ahri charm came through. There was no way he was going to make it out of that being as low as he was, like you mentioned earlier there, Glovely. So it was an interesting engage. A more interesting decision, I would say, by Utah State at the start of that, especially having to use a summoner spell, Will of D going behind the tower, no minions in sight, taking a tower shot, and then he didn't even risk taking another tower shot, which he would have survived. He just flashed. He was like, I got to get out of here right now, guys.
See a charm land on Thygolam. No mana though for Garchomp, so he's actually going to take a little bit of damage in that as well. But yeah, that's the other interesting thing, is that Tristana's not your typical mid laner. Thygolam just rocket jumped right over the wall, and immediately Utah State was left kind of staring at themselves like, there's no minions here, we should kind of go away. So I do agree with Glovely. I'm not quite sure what Boise State had planned, because Thygolam got out, and then unfortunately we saw Lelouch come in, commit the call of the Forge God, and unfortunately go down.
And the more questionable play, or the questionable play initially came there from Utah State, but we got a good engage here from Boise State. Coming out from Non, Will of D is going to be the first one to go down, and a fantastic bubble means Darkfield will go down there to Zach, actually, the Ignite being the one to finish that off. Ignite did come from Will of D, but did not find anybody on the elimination in terms of that bottom lane, and both summoner spells expended from the Kaisa.
Great counter gank by Not Koba, and that means that Boise State has the priority over the Dragon. They're going to pick up the second one for them, and then we'll see the Rift magically change before our eyes. I hope you're all excited.
Oh, I'm so stoked. And we got a Shelly up and available in the pit as well. Boise State likely going to try to push out this lane and head that way if Utah State doesn't decide that they want to go there. The mountains rise, everybody. You know, Mountain is one of the visually less exciting ones, I would say, but I think it is one of the more underrated ones.
And I think Mountain plays perfectly for Boise State's game plan, because Lovely, you talked about how this is a long strategy for Boise State, a late game focus. The new Mountain Dragon, they did change. It gives you scaling armor and magic resistance. That's the only dragon that's going to spawn for the rest of the game until one team gets to 4. So Boise State has to love that, because now they can just get more tanky until everyone's finally scaled up, and then they eventually will be able to take down Utah State with the really fed Vayne and the really fed Tristana.
On top of that, all of those walls are going to be fantastic for this Vayne. The ability to condemn someone into so many more targets that you have in the jungle make it a lot easier to use that in the middle of a hectic team fight, because sometimes it's hard to line that up. But if there's more walls, it's much easier to land.
Oh yeah, that is perfect for them. You're right, with the condemn on the Vayne there, and with how much damage hopefully will be coming out. Now we can see the Bilgewater Cutlass there finished off. And also we've got to anticipate the Ornn's Masterwork items going on to someone like a Vayne, someone like a Tristana, which can be absolutely insane. As we get the overview, Lelouch missing the Ram Horn, the flag and drag means Lelouch is going to flash out of that one. The flash in from Kodo Draco spells Lelouch's demise, as not Koba does everything to get away. The minions are on dark fields here. A bit of an advantage, though, found from Utah State, and they will likely head down to that Shelly pit, that Rift Herald pit, and focus at least another objective they can grab.
That was just really unfortunate for Lelouch that he missed that College of the Forge God. Might have been able to turn that one around, but as soon as that missed, just too much damage. The Cataclysm was still up for Dark Field. That was just truly unfortunate for Boise State that was unable to connect, because Rise doesn't have many items. He doesn't do a lot of damage besides just scaling off of mana. He doesn't have his Archangels finished up yet. So I thought Boise had a good chance. Fortunately, Call of the Forge God missed. But speaking of items, Glove, is there anything you see you want to point out?
So we're getting into the early game already, and the focus on that top lane for Lelouch has been building the Catalyst into the Abyssal Mask. My fellow casters are getting excited, and from what I can see, that is double Blade of the Ruined King.
Yes.
The build is almost identical.
It's literally identical, actually. The only thing that is different is the boots, and it's just the fact of runes being taken there because the inspiration was the secondary for the Vayne. So that's so much late game damage. And I mean, on the other side, you're going to expect a lot of these guys to get relatively tanky. The Galio already right off the bat, the Jarvan, these engagers for the side of Utah State, they're going to be able to engage, and then they're going to immediately get borked and not be able to escape.
On top of that, I think it's really great for the fact that there's going to be Mountain Dragons this game. And that means that if Utah State does manage to pick up that extra armor, Boise State's going to have a lot more power in order to shred through those targets and to stay alive for longer periods of time with the lifesteal, with the attack speed, with that bonus damage onto tanky members. But now there's a fight in the mid.
Getting onto Thyglo Lamb, the rocket jump unfortunately was disrupted. Cataclysm going to come out. He will flash away. It's not enough. Garchomp 1 is going to pick that up for Utah State.
Did use the Ignite, and now Shelly is going to come out. And again, keep in mind, it's 2 Rift Heralds now for these games. As we've got the updated one, Darkfield Society wants to take a couple tower shots there before the minions get into range. That is going to give them the first tower of the game in mid lane over to Utah State. That top tower is also looking dangerously low for Boise State, and most of the pressure has been on the Broncos this game.
It really hasn't. It's been a great job by Darkfields, using what Jarvan has in his toolkit, the ability to gank, the ability to flag and drag into the Cataclysm is a ton of CC that most champions, if flashes down, don't have the ability to get out of. We saw the flag and drag actually disrupt the rocket jump, which has really ended up being the demise of Thyglo Lamb. It's been a great job by Jarvan for a jungler that we sort of questioned at the start. How effective is he in this dragon-focused meta, making up for it by ganking everywhere he can.
But at the same time, you talked about at the beginning how you didn't really like Lelouch being the first one that was ganked. And if you look at the scoreboard, he's really the only one that's badly hurting at the moment. Looking at CS and things, everything is relatively even aside from the top and the jungle terms. And that has a lot to do with the pressure that has been put on him. But that means that this Vayne has been able to essentially do what she wants. A finished Blade of the Ruined King there in the mid lane and in the bottom lane. So when these engages occur, it's going to be very difficult for Boise State to make it out alive. Thyglo Lamb is going to get the Ignite down. Will of D flashes in, the taunt hits, and Darkfields is going to steal that with the flag.
Great job there by Thyglo Lamb. Thought he had Garchomp all by himself. It looked like he almost had him, just didn't quite get enough damage, and a great rotation by Utah State, realizing that they've sort of not given up on bot lane, but they've given Will of D the freedom to roam wherever he wants. He's basically playing that River Galio now. He's not a support anymore for the Keaton factor, as we're going to see Utah State's going to hop right onto that first Earth Dragon. They're going to pick it up. It's the only one that's going to spawn, so we're going to see another one, but they're already a little bit more tanky.
Blade of the Ruin King certainly will help that, but now you've got a Tristana sitting at 2-0, and a pretty bounty sitting on the Ahri on the opposing side there. Now is when this lane priority is really going to come into effect, because Boise State has later lane priority. The Tristana now should be able to push very hard, but he keeps getting himself into situations like that where he's putting a lot of pressure on. I thought I saw stutter stepping or like maybe auto cancels or something, because there was no damage coming out. Speaking of damage, a Cataclysm is going to be Nami ulted. The jump in from Will of D, his taunt lands, and the root lands as well. Dark Fields taking that one. Zach finds Will of D though, so a 1-for-1 so far.
Here comes Garchomp 1, though. They're going to finish the tower dive. He's going to take a lot of damage. He's going to have to run away. Unfortunately, the Night Carry also taking a lot of damage. He is going to go down to the Keaton Factor. Heal's not enough to save him. The tower is on the Broncos' side, but unfortunately no one else is, and Utah State will pick that up as well.
It feels as though the roam pressure is definitely not on the side of Boise State. Utah committing multiple members down to the spot lane to just overwhelm the forces they had. In the mid lane, they did manage to pick up a tower, so good on Boise State, and put some more damage on the second tower. But aside from that, that's not really a worthwhile trade. It's just sort of trying to staunch the bleeding.
And their response times have also been much slower than Utah State's. Anytime one of the members of Boise State jumps there on Utah State, we just saw in the mid lane, it happened with Ahri when the Ignite came down. Immediately Tygo Lamb was jumped on by the support who had roamed up early on. So you can kind of tell that the communication is a little bit stronger right now on Utah State side because of that instant response time that they have. Boise State, we saw the teleport come out from Lelouch, but I mean, at that point in the fight, they were really behind. When the other team feels comfortable fighting you under your own tower, that's when you should probably not engage on that fight.
As we are going to see, Night Carry's actually on Garchomp 1. He isn't going to quite get him. The Silver Bolt's not quite enough. He'll pick up that kill. And I agree, and I want to expand, Jolly. It feels like Boise State's responses have been too panicky. You see the three-man tower dive. Just get out. If you can't get out, just die. You don't need to commit Lelouch's teleport there. That really wasn't a winning fight because he is a tank. He's an Ornn. He's not going to change team fights unless he CCs everyone under the tower and the tower just starts popping off and assisting you. So I think Boise State has been a little bit panicked sometimes. We're going to see Willa D. He's going to jump right onto Cycle Lamb. He will get the top call. The Forge God is going to get a knock up. The Keaton Factor, the first one to fall. And this is the response we were looking for Boise State. A double kill for Thyglow Lamb.
And the engage that we wanted from Boise State this whole time, just talking about how much roaming we're seeing from Utah State more speaks to the lack of roam that we're actually seeing on Boise State side, because we talked about how roam capable they are. It does, I guess, take a little bit later into the game for them to be that comfortable to do it, but they're sticking together, and that is what matters. A good bubble there. It's going to scare the Jarvan, but not enough to actually send him away. He's going to continue chasing after these guys a little bit longer. The Ahri there was with him, as well as Rise. Now we see some pings coming out. They're going to want to take this scuttle and now really keep the focus on the Dragon.
Yeah, and as we reach that 20-minute mark, Lovely, the expert of our items here, I want to get into a discussion with you about the new item, but before we get into that, what do you see?
What do I see is that currently Lelouch is just one level away from upgrading everybody's items, and there are a number of items on the side of Boise State that are going to get those big power spikes for them. So Blade of the Ruin King is going to be a big one, and that might be why Boise State committed that to members of their team for the ability to get those extra bonuses from that. And honestly, just a good item in general for the side of Boise State. Now, what you want to talk about...
What are you excited about there? I think I see it in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, but the new lifesteal lethality item they added that makes you the solo kill master.
It's incredible.
I love that item on Olaf, by the way. I think Notkoba would be very smart to build that, because it stacks with your W and you just pop it on somebody. If there's no Ignite, it doesn't matter how much damage they're going to do to you. They're going to heal up. But Glovely, I want to get your take on that item and if you think it fits on anyone on either side in this game.
When we talk about that item, it's all about lethality and it's all about life steal. And fight breaks out.
Willa D's going to get a taunt on to Zach. He's going to go down. The Ragnarok's going to come out, but the Cataclysm is the one thing that can stop you, Notkoba. And it might be enough. He's going to go down. Double kill over to Keaton there, but the Broncos want to keep going. Lelouch is going to get the knockup. Rocket jump onto Darkfield. Unfortunately, he's going to live a triple kill for the Keaton Factor. And now we're going to see Night Carry will go down to Kodo Draco. Lelouch left all by himself. The Keaton Factor is going to jump onto him. There's not much he can do. A quadra kill and an ace for Utah State.
Once again, Utah State engages on the fight, knows exactly who they want to go for. They found the multiple pop-ups. They got just a little bit of CC down, and a phenomenal job as well there by Dark Fields to jump in and manage to keep Notkoba in his Cataclysm and keep Notkoba aggroed onto them until the damage could come up. I think it was the Kaisa moving up from the bottom lane there. So a really good engage. Boise State really didn't have a chance to respond at all there, aside from potentially running away, which they did not consider for their strategy.
Now, unfortunately, Utah State is going to pick up their third Earth Dragon of the game and Baron Nashor. That ability has not been changed aside from the duration of that buff. It might be too powerful, it might be too weak. We're still trying to figure out all of the information in these preseason changes. But either way, that's a huge boost of power for the side of Utah State.
And, the most important thing is that it looks cool.
No, I don't like the new buffs, actually. I think I don't bring back the old buff. You know what?
Really? I like the new blue and red.
Nope. I hate those.
No, okay.
Nope, I don't like them.
Okay, no.
I feel like they're
I didn't
harder
realize
to
that this
see.
was a black. I thought I was giving my opinion.
No,
No, apparently I am just raw.
I just feel like they're harder to see. They're aesthetically pleasing, yes, Jolly, but when I quickly glance at someone, I'm like, what do they have? I can't even tell.
I do think that if they decrease the opacity of it, I think that would really help.
Yeah, and when they're all stacked like this, it gets so confusing.
Right. Well, I think that's my favorite part is that it's like remember that art you used, the little spin art that you used to do? That's what these look like. They all combine together and they all click together in a way that just I think is really visually appealing, but I do think they need to be just a little bit darker or a little bit brighter. Some of them, I would definitely say some of them need to be increased in size or thickened or boldened or whatever it is, but this is the first patch in this preseason stuff. So we have to expect that they're going to encounter a few issues. Baron, I think, is actually easier to see now because it's such a big area underneath them. But I mean, we all know they have Baron buff.
Yeah, and Notkoba is going to find out the hard way that they are also in his jungle. Cataclysm comes out, he's still stoppable, and he is dead. The Keaton factor is the one that's unstoppable. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Land humps onto Kodo Draco. That's not going to work out. That's 2 kills picked up for Utah State.
And, if he had listened to your advice and not using that aggressively, it might have worked better for him. Lelouch has 2 members of Utah State under his tower. He hits his Call of the Forge God, which is good to see. Zach going to have to flash away there from the Kaisa, the Nami ultimate coming up to follow. A missed bubble from Zach, but Night Carry is dealing a lot of damage there to Will of D, who is the tank. Maybe not the one you want to focus, but he manages to take him out. In response, though, Will of D did use that Ignite and eliminated him there. So 3 down on Boise State's side, starting there with Notkoba at the initial engage, and only 1 for Utah State. Certainly a victory in their eyes.
At this point, all of the members of Utah State are just really far ahead. Kaisa has hit that huge item power spike. Rice has finished his Archangels and now has finished his Zhonya's Hourglass as well. Able to duel only the 2 items on that Tristana mid lane and shove them out. And because of that, Boise State didn't have any pressure in the bot side, easily able to just walk up with his Baron buff and take the tower. And now there's no one who can really match him either.
And you saw where the power for Boise State could be. We saw Night Carry start popping off, just shredded Will of D. If he had a front line in front of him, just because everyone was scattered and we had seen Notkoba go down, it didn't help. But if he has a front line in front of him, we see where the power could come from. The question becomes, can Boise State get to that point in the game where Night Carry can start popping off like we're used to seeing Banes do?
And with them being 10K down almost now, 9K, a little under, that's really hard to do. And at 25 minutes into, that's not a time you want to be 10K under. 5K is something you can come back from at that point. But 10K at 25 minutes in means that you are forced into your base and they have full control over the jungle. And with the game so heavily focused now on the objectives and with Utah State already having priority on those objectives, unfortunately it's not displayed up at the top for you, but Utah State does have all but 1 of those dragons, if I'm not mistaken, as well as the Rift Heralds there. So it gives them even more control than it used to.
Yeah, and the next dragon for Utah State would force the Elder Drake to spawn. Elder spawns now when a team gets 4 dragons. And Elder Drake has an execute passive baked in that is just ridiculous. I don't even know if we'll see it.
It's GG. Honestly, when Riot admits that it is broken, there is no coming back from that. You don't even have to be near the enemy team. You can be taken down to 20% in farming minions, and you're just done.
If they look at you, you die. And it's basically how it works. sacrifice yourself for Elder Dragon kills now. Don't sacrifice yourself for Baron junglers. Sacrifice yourself for Elder Dragons because that can save you. We do see some Bookwishy set up there. Unfortunately, Nakoba, he tried to check. He's unstoppable, and the flash comes out. Here's entrance as well. So a good job baiting out a couple of ultimates there. Unfortunately, Nakoba taken very low.
But the only thing that made that an acceptable play from Boise State is that the rest of the team was there to back them up. If you make those moves into your own jungle in a situation like this, where you don't have at least 2 other members there to back you up, it is a misplay. And now Boise State has actually started the aggression here. The Nami ultimate going to come out, call the Forge God as the engage changes over to Utah University. Ignite coming down to the Galio. The fight continues here as the Vayne takes out that J4. Kodo Draco, though, is on the back line and just destroying everyone. Lelouch incredibly low. A triple kill going over to Kodo Draco, and that charm means an ace is going in favor of Utah State. Kodo Draco picking up a triple kill. And, you know, the Dragon as well, I didn't even see. Did the Dragon go over to Boise State? Or
No, the Dragon was actually stolen away by Utah. A great play there by Dark Helix to jump into the pit and be able to pick up that Mountain Dragon Soul. That's going to be some additional shielding, just keeping these members even more safe than they already were.
And this should be the end for them. I mean, at this point, they can do the tower dive. They have a couple tanky members up, the Galio in particular, on that front line, plus those buffs. It was a perfect split, honestly, and Boise State kind of started the split. We saw Lelouch move down as he set Call of the Forge God behind him, but there was no recollection of them after the fact. Utah State just did such a good job of peeling the members away and really taking advantage of that buff that they had gotten instantly as well. And I eat my own words, it is not the end of the game. Boise State is going to spawn in time. It is less than 30 minutes in, so those respawn timers aren't incredibly high. But Utah State certainly in favor. Oh, he would have had it if he had thrown just a second earlier.
He hesitated.
It's because he threw down the ward, I think, and then saw it. If he had thrown in the axe before he threw the ward, he would have hit. But
that's not always a smart play.
No,
you ward first, then you check.
There were a bunch of members of Boise State right there, and he was the final one to be recalling, though. So Boise State could have actually shut him down on, or no, it's not a shutdown.
No, he's the one member who's not a shutdown. The other thing there is Kodo Draco. I picked up a triple kill in the Dragon Pit. He also got top inhibitor for the super minions to be pushing. So now Boise State is really far back on their heels. They have to be very careful. They don't have a lot of wave clear.
And one tower down, right, at the Nexus.
Yeah,
so
Boise State.
You get some minions in there, and you know, you're looking again at moving over to these objectives here. You're looking again at the Baron. You get some Baron minions in those 2 lanes, and that's it.
There is a split focus on the map here. Utah State forcing Boise State to choose. Do you want to fight us at the Baron, or are you going to let Koda continue to push the top lane? Boise State picks the fight.
Call the Forge God starts it. Unfortunately, no knockups there. We are going to see a ton of damage come on to Zach Garchomp. The first one gets the kill. Cataclysm going to go down as well. Hero's entrance will help out a little bit. A double kill for the Keaton factor. He will go down, but unfortunately, Boise State is going to join him. We are going to see an ace onto the Broncos. All the meanwhile, Kodo Draco is pushing the base. He already has the second Nexus turret down. He probably would have killed the Nexus regardless of who won that fight. So Utah State is going to pick up game 1 of this Gridiron Series.
And the final one at that, the final Gridiron Series here tonight. But it is a best of 3, so, you know, don't fret. And not only that, this is our first game of the night. We got Rocket League and Overwatch coming up after that. But since it is a best of 3, I believe we are going to take a quick break. But before that, let me just introduce our special guest that we have viewing us all together at Washington Technology Magnet School. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being our special guest here tonight. St. Paul, Minnesota has got about 2,100 students, 95% students of color, which for Idaho, we don't have a lot of that diversity, so it is great to see that. And about 30 students that are competing in Hearthstone, SSBU, so Super Smash Brothers, Fortnite. They do League of Legends with Playverses. They are part of NASAF for League of Legends as well. So they're a growing esports community within that. And we love to see it because being a college, obviously we're growing too. So to see it occurring in smaller schools, it just makes my heart warm. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be giving you little shout outs throughout the night. If there's anything that you want to let us know, throw it up in chat, and I'm sure our production will give us a little heads up on that. Any special facts, any shout outs, just let us know. We're here to hook it up for you guys tonight. He said something and I didn't hear it.
So I think it's a new thing. I don't know if you've done this with it, Charlie. It's the
No.
progress report. So we'll run it down. Just give us your grade and your explanation.
Oh, me.
We'll run it all down. We'll run it back and forth,
All
but
right.
you can start it.
The draft, now, I guess for...
Boise State.
So this is all for Boise
Yes.
State. Ooh, you know what? I liked the ideas behind it because of the new meta. I'm gonna give it a B-.
I'm going to give it a C+. It showed in the game they had way too much AD, didn't have a traditional mid laner.
I'm going to be even more harsh on them. I don't think Boise State had a very good draft at all. They didn't have a lot of early game pressure. They put so much focus on their late game. They drafted so much on the AD. I'm going to give them a D on this one.
And literally, as I say B+, I'm like, oh, but the lack of tank was another big thing. I brought it up at the very, very first start, the pick, the Vayne and the Nami. That's really tough to do. And with a Galio down there, it's even tougher. So vision control, second step. Vision control. Oof, I'm gonna give them a C on that one.
Yeah, I'll give them a C as well. They got one dragon. Felt like they knew where they were happening, but it's a C.
I'm going to give them a C+. I do think that they did have some vision. They knew things were happening. They just weren't able to do anything about them. And as a result, they got pushed further and further behind.
Objective controls, the next one. I'm going to stick with a C. They had a lot of potential for the composition that they had, and they just didn't get that early game pressure enough to focus objectives.
I'm going to give them a D. They lost every dragon but one. They lost Baron. If they would have got Elder Dragon for Utah State, it would have been an F for me.
I'm going to agree. I do think that they definitely got a D. The only objective they managed to get was one dragon, that Cloud Drake, and they were still getting out-rotated.
All right, time management on the next one. I'm going to give them a B- on this one. I think their time management, they at least knew what they were trying to focus. Maybe not so much in the jungle. We didn't see a lot of presence there, but one of the more hopeful parts of this.
I mean, I'll agree. I'll give it a B because not Koba. He got to the first dragon, thought he had it, got rotated in on. He knew when it spawned, though. I give him a B.
I'm going to have to agree with you guys. I think Boise State did a great job, so B for me as well. Great job just knowing where to be, just not really being able to do anything about it.
And the last one we're going to check here is the team fights. Man, this one's I got to go C- on this one because every single one of the team fights, they engaged too late, they stayed too long.
Yeah, I agree. C-. Felt like they weren't always coordinated. We started some fights with Call of the Forge God. You usually see that as sort of the turnaround point in a fight, so I go C-.
3 for 3. Boise State had some power, but they weren't protecting their damage-based members. While they were able to get some key eliminations, they weren't able to do anything that would have turned the game around.
All right, and I'm hearing, since this is my first time doing this, we get to pick a checkbox, but we're going to skip over that because we're going to take a very, very quick break here as we get back into the Gridiron Rivals. Tonight, it is the Broncos up against Utah State Esports, and we have a special guest watching as well, Washington Technology Magnet School. Stay tuned, just a quick break, and we'll see you very shortly.
Boise State Esports is brought to you by Game Pants Arenas and Equipment, Omen by HP, and Archon Clothing, makers of official licensed Boise State Esports apparel.
Hello and welcome back to the Gridiron Rival Series here at Boise State University up against Utah University. And, we've got a rough game going for the Broncos so far today. Here to cast this with me is Michael Fisher. We've got Glovely on board as well. Utah State, who we're going up against here. So far, Boise State lost that first round, but it is a best of 3 in League of Legends. So what do you guys think, and I guess we'll start with Fish because you're closer to me. What do you guys think Boise State needs to do in the draft phase? It seems like you guys rated them pretty low on that one. In the draft phase to help start this next game.
My first key would be, we've seen Boise State do fantastic with the Ornn. The one problem, and I think it kind of reared its ugly head, is he is countered by hyper carries. Rise kind of fits that boat. He is a hyper carry, and he was just, Kodo Draco was popping off. He was incredibly fed. He was split pushing wherever he wanted. Then he teleported and get triple kills. So just be wary when you pick the Ornn that the top laner isn't picked for Utah State. Don't pick the Ornn if they can still pick a hyper carry would be my one suggestion.
I want more focus on the early game and the objective control. You have so many champions that you could be using to control those dragons, which are having such a huge impact on this meta. But Boise State drafted a very late game composition and lost control of the map. So something like Nunu, Cho'Gath, champions that have the ability to have that early game impact, like Xin Zhao or Jarvan II or Jarvan IV, would be great champions to use. But Boise State needs to be able to draft for that. Do they have champions like that in their pool that they can use to benefit from in this preseason?
And then finally, just build everything new. Just so we can learn it as casters. Since this is a show match, I want Sanguine Blades.
Yeah, I don't want to have to play the game.
Yeah, I want Sanguine Blades. I want the new Keystone.
I want
that.
Rengar so that we can get that vision item out as well.
Yeah, that's what we should see here. Just everything new at this point.
It is going to stay the same, aside from Boise State, though, with the respect ban on the Galio for Utah State University. A good choice because giving the Aggies Galio again, it's not going to work for you, especially if Boise State decides to go aggressive in the bottom lane again.
And also, that's a respect ban on the Rise by first picking it. I mean, that's basically your fourth Rise. We're going to see the Lovers duo for Utah State, the Zaya Rakan. But Boise State showing some props to Utah State and say, all right, let's see if you can do it again, but we're going to make sure you don't play the same team again.
It is potentially a flex pick as well because it is risky to do Rise first pick in the top lane like that. So I would assume that this is it has many positions. That's the good thing about somebody like Rise. It's okay to first pick him. And then you get to kind of adjust from what the first picks for Utah State are going to be there. And they went with some really good selections, and it's kind of hard to go up against that, especially having the Morgana band out there so they can't do that dynamic duo that they were running with the Caitlyn Morgana. They are going to go with the Caitlyn here, though, and we'll see if they stick with that Nami. And they listen to you in part. It's not an item, but it's a new champion. Senna hopping in. They didn't respond. The coolest thing would have been if they responded with the other lovers, though. And Lucian and Senna, as Senna is Lucian's wife returned from the lantern, I suppose.
Returned from the grave. There's the Jarvan 4 going to come out for Utah State. Fantastic play last time by Darkfield on that. We'll see if he can repeat that and how Boise State wants to handle it. Last time they went with the Olaf, went more farm happy. Maybe didn't work just because Jarvan 4 was everywhere. So be curious to see. My recommendation is we see the Respect Olaf band going to come out from the Aggies. Pick something that can do the dragon first. We saw Nakoba try it, Olaf. It's a little dicey. You've got to make sure your lifesteal is on point.
And that the lanes are pressured, that you know where the enemy jungle is. They didn't have any deep wards at that time either. So we knew it was risky. I think he knew it was risky. He's like, this is either going to be awesome or it's going to fail miserably, but hopefully we can still come back from that. They weren't able to, but that doesn't mean that that it wasn't enough for USU to consider banning it, and they did. And they're going to round it out with the Jace, just like the last round, just something that they are not going to want to deal with there. And the last ban for Boise State, who did pick blue side on this one, it is loser's pick. First choice goes to Utah State, so they would have picked blue initially. And the Zoe, they don't like those hyper carries in the mid lane. That was some really good play there from Utah State. So certainly focusing the mid is going to be a very good idea for Boise State here.
Yeah, and it is curious to see where they want to flex this Rise. As you mentioned, John, it's probably going to be top or mid, but they haven't really officially picked it, and the Aggies still have to pick theirs. Kali, mainly a mid laner after the rework, but that could still flex either way. Poppy comes out, all but confirms that is going to be a Rise mid. And then the Lee Sin, the final pickup there for Boise State. And the top laner for Utah State is going to be, I know what Glovely wants.
I mean, I'd love to see Garen, but I don't think it's very likely in this matchup. I do think he beats Poppy, especially with the Conqueror, but I also know that Garen's not a very popular pick. I think that there are a lot of other champions that they could use very well to try and shove this Poppy out, something with range or just a champion that's going to straight up farm Poppy out of the lane.
Yeah, and I was going to say it wouldn't hurt to have a little AP. Because, so it does, I would say the Akali is going to go into the top. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think up against the Poppy. That makes more sense to me. The Rise, Syndra should have the opportunity there. She has the range on that, on the Rise and does not have to get the combination down to really make do with the kit as Rise does. So I think better picks overall in general. I am, once again, though, if we have to pick, I've got to say overall, I like the composition for Utah State a bit better. They have a better mix of AD and AP. There's a lot of AD on the side of Boise State, and that might get a little bit riskier later in the game.
Well, they tried to pull it off last game, so we'll have to see. You know what? Kodo Draco used the new Keystone on Akali. In my mind, I feel like it could be good. It's probably terrible, but that's what I want to see. I want him to. I don't know. We're going to have to see, but I want him to. Use it.
Yeah, I mean...
I've tried it a couple times. I haven't found anything it fits on at this point.
Oh, dear.
I tried him in the jungle, and it felt like you can't do it in the jungle because you just keep wasting them.
I would just think, I haven't tried it yet either, but that was my initial thought on hearing the description is Udyr, just because he's so versatile already.
It just feels lost in the jungle.
Yeah.
My first takeaway is because you just spend the first 5 minutes, it just kind of cycles through, and you're like, none of this helps me in the jungle right now.
So maybe top lane then
like a top laner melee is really where it felt key on.
Lovely, what experience do you have?
I haven't actually used that Keystone yet. I haven't had the chance to play around with it. I did, however, get out of the game playing as Garen into this top lane Akali, so I know just what a powerful champion that can be for the way that you can shove out waves to very quickly dance in and out of your opponent. However, you are going into a Poppy, does have the ability to shut down a lot of that mobility. So it's really going to be a question of how is Akali going to use it, and is Poppy going to be able to predict whatever dashes that Akali wants to use.
You know what? Thank you, Kodo Draco, for watching our stream and letting us know. He told us the new Keystone is bad and he can't take it. I appreciate him checking in at least.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like this is one of the few opportunities. Every so often, if you guys say something directly to us, the production will throw it up. But during the pick ban phase, we get to see it during that time. So like when you guys correct me, you know, like I didn't actually see it before it popped up there, the Utah State thing. But you know, you got now people just promoting Dean. Guys, he's not playing right now. He's not even playing. But it does look like they've taken a page from the book of the main team. Lee Sin, one of the popular ones on that. The Caitlyn constantly coming out. The Rise actually coming out a few times there in the mid lane. So maybe some of these swaps, too, have to do with not Koba potentially going back and forth between these two teams and recognizing what might work well in the compositions. But this is also the point of trial and error. And this is the last broadcast that we're going to do, so we don't get to, unfortunately, watch the progression of this trial and error. Boise State, the teams are going to have a little bit of time to play during the winter break and before the next semester starts, before we start doing that broadcast. So they'll be able to kind of figure things out. But just once again, Boise State, the Broncos, going up against the Aggies here, Utah State University Esports. They did take game number 1, Boise State falling in about 30 minutes on that one. Overwhelming, I would say, for 4 of the Aggies there. They found every advantage they could take, and they took it. They did not even let Boise State have the chance there. And shout-outs. I love these things, man. We got our special guest today, Washington Technology Magnet School. I see you guys. Thank you so much for watching us. They also have a 95% graduation rate, which is just insane. Absolutely miraculous, especially with over 2,000 students being there. And 95% free and reduced lunch. That indicates that you're looking at lower income families. And a 95% graduation rate. You kids are awesome. You guys, seriously, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for keeping school a high priority and, you know, being a part of something as cool as this as an esports program within that. And I mean, we've got 3 Fortnite players, 10 League of Legends players. They're currently 8-0 in the Central Play versus Standings. And they've got subs for all of their teams too. So even right off the bat, you guys are finding ways to kick butt and take names, and I love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll check in with you, you know, every so often. And I've got a whole sheet of these,
You're
these
just
awesome
full
facts.
of facts.
Oh yeah, I love it. Doc hooks me up with all kinds of amazing things, and the high school stuff in particular is really my favorite. But going back to the games at hand, Utah State dominating. You know, it still took 30 minutes. It wasn't incredibly high, but really taking advantage of the new meta. What do you guys? I know you want to see more items and stuff. What do we want to see more of? I know we didn't see anybody in either of the smokers pits, and we didn't see a lot of advantage taking in terms of like the dragon pit changing. So what would you guys like to see?
I'd like to see some replays.
So I was going to say, while you answer, weekly replays. But I mean, as we talk, we might as well discuss this here. The jump in, a great taunt there, and I think the flag and drag, the interruption of the flag and drag, is what turned that fight for Boise State. It allowed them to finish off the Galio and then turn to the Jarvan there.
Yeah, that was a great overall play by Boise State, able to counter gank on an opponent who likes to gank very early. And here we see a very good jump over the wall, able to catch actually a very key target there on that Kai'Sa. And being able to eliminate that damage is a big deal, but Boise State had trouble doing it consistently throughout the game. We saw that they had the ability to do so, to make off these big plays, but they failed in their consistency. They weren't able to dictate the pace of the game, to the engages, the locations of the fights, the objectives, just having a lot of trouble in that game. I think that they've got a better shot at in this game. I think that the Lee Sin is going to give them a lot more pressure in the jungle, especially because he does have a lot more early game presence than Olaf, has the mobility to get over walls, and hey, he might build some of those new items for us.
He may. If he's listening to Fish, he
should.
will.
He should just go full new items in the new Keystone. What could go wrong?
Just build just for Fish. Don't even build to win the game.
I mean,
you've got a third one, you know?
Well, they got to win to get a third one.
Well, you're talking Boise. I mean, you talking about
Utah State. I mean, yeah.
I'm saying,
yeah, come on. It's full new items, full new Keystones.
But what would you say then, because Utah State, since Boise State didn't really oppose anything that they did right, everything they tried to do right, they continue to do right as we hop into the game. What do you think Boise State needs to do to clean that up? What do they need to take advantage of? We didn't see any movement bottom lane.
No, I mean, I would say take advantage of one of your lanes. Have not Koba get in early gank, kind of like Darkfield did. My guess would be it's either going to be mid or bot. Poppy, another one of those tanky champions that if you get a kill on a Poppy, it's okay. It's not fantastic. It's still a kill, but it's not.
It was Ryze versus Ornn, though, and there were a lot of ganks in the top for Ryze. So.
Well, then gank for Ryze here. Gank for Thyglow Lamb. See if you can punish Garchomp 1, because unlike Ahri, Syndra doesn't have a lot of mobility outside the flash. If you miss your stun, you're kind of just sitting duck. So take advantage of that. That would be my key for Boise State.
I think that you need to focus on that mid lane. I think the bot lane does have the danger of being jumped upon with the Caitlyn and the Senna, and being able to get ahead would be great, but losing all that bounty gold just as quickly would be a problem. Meanwhile, the Ryze needs to be able to scale into the mid and late game in order to be a real threat. So if you're able to get him ahead early, you get there to that point in the game that much quicker. Boise State going to pick up 10 gold for the early gold advantage, but it's
Night
just
Scary
a little
was the
bit.
one that got that, right? Yep, Night
Scary.
No, Night Gary. Night Fairy?
Well,
it's a game that we play. He encourages us to do this. This is the first game. I'm consistently doing it, and you guys haven't been playing along.
We were unaware of the rules of the game.
We've told about them a lot. Will of D's going to hop in the Ignite, immediately coming down onto Zach, so focus onto that Senna, because she was the one that was found out. Night, what's another one? Night Harry? He did use his heal in that one, and then the flash as well from Senna. So 2-1 on summoner spells, and quite a bit of damage there going on to Zach.
And that's one of the problems with this bot lane. They have the ability, or they don't have the ability to disengage from these fights. Caitlyn and Senna don't really have that much in terms of mobility. They do have the net, they do have the swirling shadow thing that I can never remember.
It's very
the name
delayed, though. It's not as immediate as you would think. It's not as, all right, we're all invisible, we're going to get away. If there's anyone next to you, it's like a very poor Twitch stealth.
I mean, no, it's very similar to Pike in terms of the camouflage. It is when you are within range of them, or a certain area for Pike at least, you can see them. And similar with Senna, you know, you can see them in a manner, but you have to be close. And there, a good buckle coming from Lelouch as Kodo Draco gets down very low. He is able to shroud away.
And a great job there also, a gank by Nutkoba. He got the flash away from Garchomp 1 there, so now you're setting yourself up for a return gank. I think he is going to go down. It looks like he's on that red buff, so you could immediately come right back. There's a ward in the middle of that lane. Another stun, though. Going to come on to Kodo Draco. No shroud this time. An excellent stop of the flash away. Unfortunately, the flash comes out from Kodo Draco. Great job, though, by Lelouch punishing that Akali. Couldn't dash away in that little sort of shield that Poppy says, but a knockup is going to land onto Zach here. Darkfield there as well. The Flagon Drag is going to land. Knight Gary is trying to get a kill onto Will of D, but unfortunately for Knight Jerry, he's going to take that little alcove. He's surrounded, though. That is going to be a kill for the Keaton Factor.
Nightmare going down in that one, and man, that was a rough one.
Yeah, unfortunately, that bot lane just is really hard to disengage with. If you get on top, they have great poke, they have great pressure, but that leaves them so vulnerable to these ganks, and Knight Fairy just not able to do anything to turn this around.
He did try, and a lot of that had to do as well with the positioning from the Keaton Factor early on, but as I speak of it, Utah State just walks straight up into the mid lane. Tygo Lamb is going to make it out in single digits of health there. But that was kind of obvious. There was a pretty easy move there. Maybe he got benched because he left his Panda Express trash on the couch.
Wow, okay.
No more of that.
Don't leave your trash around.
I don't even know who it was. I'm not the one that said that. I'm not really sure. You know, I'm assuming that was Twitch chat showing up. You know, it was important. It was important enough for production to show it to me, so I'm going to put my all into that one. But that was an obvious move there from the bottom lane.
Yeah, that was a full gank squad by Utah State.
It really was.
Tygo Lamb had to burn the flash. I don't know how he got out alive. I mean,
I don't think he had flash. I didn't think he burned the flash in that one.
He used the flash earlier on during that gank with the Lee Sin to try and get into position. Wasn't able to do anything with it, so I thought it was a bit of a questionable maneuver. So he did manage to survive that despite not having that flash. One more auto attack would have spelled his doom. Meanwhile, Boise State, though, does pick up the first dragon of the game, so good on them. They're going to have that additional regeneration that'll help their bot lane stay a little bit safer, assuming they are careful to not get ganked.
Was another Cloud Drake, though?
Was it a Cloud Drake?
No, it was Notion.
No, I think that was Cloud.
Well, we don't have any more indicators to tell us, so, like, Riot,
right
fix your spectator.
Right. Exactly, yeah, Riot needs to get on that. We should take a pill to see if BSU should add Monster Hunter World as a varsity esport. When you show me a competitive mode and show me enough people interested, and I will fight for you. I will.
I think we'll see
I'm behind
Tetris 99
whatever
before
game.
we see that.
I play everything. I'm willing to cast whatever. If I find people for it, I mean, you know, I don't control anything here, but I'll at least like put a little note in the Dropbox. That's all the power I have.
Yeah, the more casting jobs, the better, right? I mean,
yeah. Oh, totally. Absolutely. Let's take a look at CS, though. It seems like it's pretty even across the board here. A slight advantage in the Akali's favor. And this Poppy has also been pushed under tower for the majority of the game. That should give Nutkoba a little bit easier of a time deciding, you know, should I go top lane? No. We're already pushed in. So the aggression is going to be down here in the bottom lane as Nutkoba shows up, just giving a little bit of a scare to these guys and allowing the pressure that Boise State needed after taking that dragon. One of the key points that Doc brought up. If you're getting eliminations, if you're doing things, you better make something out of it. They got an objective, and they pushed a lane from it.
Tygo Lamb taking a lot of damage in the mid. He has to be very careful. Syndra is one of those champions that can burst you down immediately. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Lelouch is going to get the stun on Kodo Draco. The Shroud will come down to keep that Akali invisible to Poppy, and he will be able to disengage with ease. Take a look at the SCS usually translates into items glovely. So why don't you take a look at the items for us? But before you do that, a gank is going to come out. A kill for Garchomp 1 on the Tygo Lamb.
Shut up, Glovely!
Now you can talk about the items glovely.
Boy, you know, I was about to open my mouth, but I saw exactly what was going to happen there. So looking at the items currently, nothing too particularly big. We do see the BF sword has been picked up by Utah State, and unfortunately Boise State hasn't been able to match that and picked up a Carisha's shard and a dagger there on the Night Fairy. And now there's going to be a skirmish between the junglers.
Cataclysm is going to come out. Flash away, though, by Notkoba. Notkoba was level 4 when that started. He leveled up off the blue buff. Darkfield is level 6. That huge level advantage nearly played in the favor of Utah State. Any other items, though, Clevely? I think we should be safe.
At this point, Tear the Goddess on that rise going to start stacking up for Thigao Lamb. So really important item. In the top lane, Lelouch has actually opted for the Corrupting Potion and the Doran's Shield. So extremely safe laning phase, but unfortunately not a lot of early power, and none of those items are able to translate into bigger items in the later stages of the game.
And no one's really backing in this top lane. Akali just has a Torrens Ring and an Amplifying Tome, so somebody's going to back and somebody's going to finish an item like it looks like Kodo Draco is doing right now.
And Kodo Draco is going to have to walk back to the lane, so yes, it is a good opportunity for Lelouch to push, but it might also be a good opportunity to recall. There it is, and teleport back up since he does have advantage, and then follow it up with the push there. As we can see, Nightberry trying to be a little bit sneaky there and throw down some vision, but Utah State is going to stay on top of that. They've been doing a very good job of keeping vision away from Boise State here, and we can see how much it has led. Almost a 3K gold lead here 9 minutes into this game.
Yeah, Utah State, it's really been a lot of Darkfield. He's been everywhere he's wanted. He's been on all 3 kills in this game. So Boise State, Notkoba got a little bit behind. A couple of his ganks were just unsuccessful. So if Notkoba can catch back up in level, I think that's really where Boise State can sort of get back into this game, get some ganks going from Lee Sin. Once you hit level 6, the Dragon Kick can really change a lot of fights.
Utah State is seeming to tease a little bit of power down towards that bot side, but Syndra going to return to lane. And Boise State has Notkoba in the wings, so they will be safe in this situation. Just going to clear out some vision, set themselves up, and continue poking in this bot lane, but maybe Thigao Lamb being caught out.
He is going to be. He will dodge the flag and drag. The Senna Snipe going to give him a little bit of a shield. And Utah State will be forced to disengage. With that flagging dragon hit, I would have thought they would have gone all in. Cataclysm must have still been on cooldown from Darkfield earlier. I'm surprised we didn't see it if it was available.
I think it was available, but he just really didn't have much of an opportunity. The second he jumped in there after the flag drag, he got stunned down. Out comes the ultimate from the Xayah, though, and Night Legendary is going to be the focus of attention there. Notkoba now just trying to escape. It does not look like he will be able to. Kodo Draco being accredited with that one, and in the meantime, Thigao Lamb is going to be jumped on here by this Rise. The ultimate coming through to save him just in time, because that Cataclysm secured him for quite a while. No eliminations going in that mid lane, and 2 going down in the bottom in favor of Utah.
That was a fantastic teleport by Kodo Draco. Immediately after the quickness came out, he started going down there. I think Utah State once again had their sights set on their dragon. They are going to pick up this Ocean Drake, and then very soon it's another Earth Dragon. So almost a repeat of last game. We're going to see a lot of more walls, a lot more tankiness for whatever team picks up these dragons.
I was hoping to see something. Come on, Riot, really? Like, way to mix it all up for us. We just get to see the mountains rise again. I mean,
and a lot of tankiness.
Yeah, and a lot of tankiness. Yeah, which, you know, that's fun utility, but
it's all about damage.
It's all about the damage, man, and it's all about seeing the new stuff too. I think
exactly.
This is part of what we want here. Where now, I guess, would Boise State need to move their focus? Because now the mid lane and the bottom lane, which is what we were talking about, them focusing, have gone in favor of Utah State. Do they adjust their focus to try to push for that top? And as I ask the question, Notkoba is the focus here. The ultimate coming out from Lelouch, going to bump that guy away. Get out of here, Jarvan. We don't want your smite around because we want Shelly. And now it is in the pockets of the Broncos.
After a bit of a troubling first game, Lelouch has really been pulling his weight in this game. Now as Notkoba goes diving in, isn't able to catch up with Jarvan, does have the flag and drag, but now there's the bot lane.
Knock up right onto Zach. He's going to get rooted as well. We'll have to flash away the Boise State bot lane, taking a lot of poke damage from this lovers duo.
And only an Ignite available in terms of summoner spells there. They also don't have vision, and they're kind of pushed. And there is a ward in that bush, as well as a couple towards the side of Boise State. There we go. That's what I want to see. It is scary, though, to see that being pushed that far without any vision. And now, as we speak of it, the Keaton factor finds what he needed there. Down goes one. Tygo Lamb is the next focus here. A good stun, though, from him means the Syndra will not take his life just yet. Lelouch taking damage. And it seems like Utah State gets super excited. Once one team member is like, all right, I'm going in. The rest of them are like, all right, I want some action, too. I'm going in here. And now they put a ton of damage down on Boise State. They may not have gotten an elimination in that, but they've done the poke necessary here. Oh my goodness, a flash out, another Cataclysm coming in there. Lots of damage from the Syndra. Tygo Lamb is so low, and Darkfield will take him down immediately after. Garchomp finds Not Koba, and that is after the ultimate coming out of Not Koba there as well. So Boise State likely going to lose several plates, if not the first tower of the game.
It was a fantastic rotation by Utah State. They have been communicating so well. Really, Will of D and Darkfield have turned into sort of not quite a double jungle, but they are almost always together. It's been a fantastic job by them, basically being able to say, all right, we're going to gank this lane. After the flag and drag hits, we're going to get the knock-up as well. So that's been a great job rotating by Utah State.
Boise State, on the other hand, has been really having trouble capitalizing on their jungler. He's been ganking into lanes that weren't pushed. He's been trying to find targets that still had their defensive tools up and hasn't been able to fully commit to an engage. Currently sitting at 0-2-0, not even picking up any assists yet or really putting much pressure on the lane. He's not a bad champion, not a bad player, certainly, but has been having so much trouble.
Do keep in mind, it is impossible for him to get assists in this game because there are 0 eliminations on the side of Boise State. That means that the only hero that hasn't, or the only champion that hasn't died yet is the Poppy in the top lane. Everybody else is sitting at 0-2-0, 0-3-0, 0-1-0. So everybody on Boise State's side is uncomfortable in this game. And it's not even necessarily that they're playing things incredibly wrong. I think it's just that Utah is doing things so very right. Their communication, I'm not even near them, and I can tell their communication is intensely strong because of the reactionary times that they have had in all of these fights and all of these objectives.
Yeah, Utah State has been communicating very well, rotating very well, but you can always get back in the game with one good item, Glovely, so what are you seeing?
The biggest thing I'm seeing on the side of Boise State is that their bot lane doesn't have a big AD item. We have the Carisha's Shard, the Cloak of Agility, so it's attack speed, and it is crit, but you don't have an actual damage item in order for your attacks to be able to multiply that crit damage for.
And Caitlyn, being, a relatively slow shooter but heavy damage dealer, she needs it, and there comes the ult. The recall from the Keaton factor, who picks up an elimination. Speaking of ultimates, Darkfield decides to throw down the Cataclysm. The Senna does respond with her own ultimate, and Lelouch teleports down and uses the ultimate to assist his team and prevent another death on the side of Zach. Makes it out alive on that one. A great play from Lelouch in the top lane.
That was a great job, a great teleport there by Lelouch to lock down Darkfield, who maybe got a little bit over-aggressive, overzealous, trying to take down Senna. Utah State, you'd gotten your kill. Maybe that's when you disengage, but when you're so far ahead, it can be hard to do that. But Boise State, seeing the Darkfield down and with a respawn, they're going to try Dragon, but now Knight Jerry, he's caught out, and Knight Larry is going to go down. The Keaton factor, unstoppable. Meanwhile, Kodo Draco's going to pick up that first tower.
I had some hope for that. It looked like Zach was down there to bait out the fight, because it appeared that just the Sire and the Rakan were moving up. Communication should have been strong there. I thought that Zach was going to come and try to pinch them, but by the time he engaged on the fight, Knight Solitary was already down, and he is not somebody that is going to survive in this or deal the damage necessary to be able to secure the objective. And now at this point, the rest of Utah State has respawned, and they're already at the objective.
Now Utah State is going to go on that Dragon. The Sonic Wave came out from Nakoba, but you will smartly not follow that one up. No point in sacrificing your life for that, so that is a second Dragon and an Earth Dragon over to the side of Utah State.
More Earth, guys. More
tank.
Yeah, we still have 3 more, or at least 2 more Earth Dragons to go. Tygo Lamb going to get caught out in the mid lane by 5 members of Utah State. Just really unfortunate, not able to do much about that. Very clean tower dive by Utah.
We're 17 minutes into this game, though, and you're looking at 1-11 on the kill death spread. You're looking at 0-3 on the towers, and you're looking at 9.5K, essentially. in a difference, that is massive. At this point in the game, if you're Boise State, this is not a good engage. Even if you have some sort of advantage, Zach trying to engage on this one, but he's going to be immediately turned on. They have no advantage here. The Keaton factor taking that one for himself. Get another kill going over to that ADC as the Zaya there. So what I was trying to say before Lelouch made a questionable engage there, he was able to escape, but only because another member sacrificed himself. They need to be buying sweepers, buying wards, and only going into their jungle at this point if they know where the enemy is, or only moving as a team. They can collectively clear areas and throw down vision, and that will give them the only advantage really right now that they can find is going to be vision advantage and play advantage in that sense. At least from what I see, you know. I'm wrong very often. So
well, we'll see. We will see another new thing. It's not an item, but it is the second Rift Herald of the game. The new thing.
Is it Shelly the second?
Shelly
Jr.?
Shelly Jr. is going to be here. If you kill Shelly quick enough, the respawn will line up. She is also spawning a little bit sooner as well. So we will see Shelly Jr. come out. Unfortunately, Utah State was the one who's going to take claim to Shelly Jr.
I mean, only unfortunate if you're not Utah State, or if you're a Boise State fan. For them, it is certainly fortunate because that means they pick up another objective for the team, which I think every single objective. Wait, Boise State took the first dragon?
Yes, Boise State got the first dragon.
So just like the last game, Boise State taking that first dragon, and then everything going over to Utah State, including a second Shelly Jr., who is hopefully cuter.
I would assume they look almost nearly identical.
They do. I would like to submit to Riot that
as I float along, ghost upon a hill. None of this is real, I'm waiting for the sun to come up. I'm anonymous, feel as if I'm sleeping under.
Welcome back to the Boise State Esports broadcast, and we are moving on tonight to the Overwatch match. Rocket League was our starter, but now it is time for the main event, if you will. Boise State versus Wyoming, the Broncos versus the Cowboys in Overwatch. I'm your host, Jacob Jim Mountain Palmer, and joining me at the desk, I've got Michael Fish Fisher and Jared Baratel Castiglione, still here from the Rocket League broadcast. Michael, Fish, it's great to see you here with us.
Thank you.
As we start the Overwatch, and to bring you up to speed, Boise State has had the victory in Rocket League, a great buzzer beater at the end of the match to get them the victory. But like I said, this is the main course now. Rocket League was kind of the appetizer. Overwatch is the main course. League of Legends will be the dessert that someone spilled salt in, and now it's ruined at the end of it. But right now we're focusing on Overwatch, and this is the game. We've talked about how Wyoming's joining us in the arena. This was the game that the Overwatch squad for Wyoming drove all the way here to play us. And the main thing that they want to prove here is how serious they are about their program. They're coming all the way over here to challenge us on our turf in this match. What do you think the Broncos should be thinking right now?
Oh, I mean, the Broncos should be worried. Anyone who's serious enough to drive from Wyoming to Boise, I've done it several times, would not recommend it unless you're serious about something. Boise State has to be scared that Wyoming came all this way to play Boise State on their home turf in front of their home crowd. They've got to be scared that this team is very serious.
Yeah, and I may have perhaps bribed some of the players from Wyoming with a slice of pizza, a little bit of insider information. They have some very serious comps that they're willing to bust out to get that W at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the Wyoming players yesterday when they first came into this arena when they just got here, and they were talking to me about how confident they are in this double shield meta right now. He was really playing up the double shield comp that they've got right now, so I'm really excited to see how they do against Boise State. This is Boise State Esports versus University of Wyoming in Overwatch. The Broncos versus the Cowboys. We are going to see who comes out on top in this match.
Yeah,
right now, will the Cowboys be able to tame the wild horse?
Yes.
Or will the horse
He went there.
Yes,
Cowboys
that's exactly
off of
where
their
I was
back?
going.
Yes.
That's called synergy.
It's a true rodeo showdown.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. You know, maybe we'll see McCree, maybe Ash. Who knows?
You know what? That's okay. I want to see them on Wyoming's side now.
Yeah,
I want
okay.
to see at least one of those heroes on Wyoming's side in some way, because if it's not, that's criminal almost.
You're not being thematically correct at that point. Now,
No.
that being said, is Orisa the closest thing to a horse?
Yeah, I was going to say if there is a horse, it has to
We're
be
probably
Orisa.
going to see Orisa. I mean,
we're going to see it, don't trust me.
the meta as it stands, of course, is most likely going to be, again, the Orisa Sig, 2 DPS, Reaper Doom, sometimes May, and then, of course, Moira Lucio as the standard. So be anticipating hearing a lot of those ultimates popping off.
Yeah, we don't forget about the pharmacy comp, and then when you run pharmacy, you definitely throw in Batista's there as well. So there is a couple.
What about Bastion with the projectile?
Yeah, Bastion as well could be there as we see the players for Wyoming on the screen here, but we really don't even need to see them on the screen because they're here in the arena.
That graphic is so sick for Wyoming. They bring that themselves?
They probably did. I mean, they did everything themselves, I'm
They
sure.
loaded it
That's
into
fair.
a thumb drive and drove it all the way over here just to show us.
It's worth it. It looks really
Yeah,
cool.
It does
Fantastic.
look nice. Almost a bit of a complementary colors thing, too. You get some clear contrast there. But anyway, for those of you who are wondering, Overwatch is a game made up of 6-player teams, and so we obviously couldn't fit all of them on stage, but we like to have 3 versus 3. And before we get to the match, as we always do, it's time for Doc's Keys to the Game versus Overwatch Wyoming. Focus on priority targets, coordinate the push and pull, kite corners to stabilize, and watch your ult economy, something that's so crucial in a lot of these matches. Doc's Keys to the Game brought to you by Boise State University, where you can choose from more than 200 areas of study, and you will have the chance to combine minors, certificates, internships, hands-on research, work opportunities, and more. To make your educational experience, visit boisestate.edu for more information. That has been Doc's Keys to the Game.
And I'll throw it out another key myself, and we've seen it from both sides throughout this Overwatch season, is don't commit to an ult that's useless. We've seen a lot of teams, they're going to, all right, we're going to use this sort of sneaky pick. The ultimate might not be worth it, or they lose out, maybe like a Sombra, it didn't quite work. Just throw it away. Don't sit on the EMP waiting for a perfect EMP that never comes. So I'm going to throw in Fish's key to the game. Don't waste an ultimate just because you have one up because it's a bad character.
Okay, and who's sponsoring you for Fishes?
Boise State Esports.
Yeah, Boise State Esports.
Okay.
Yeah, Boise State Esports sponsors me. Come watch Boise State Esports. 301 South Capitol, boisestate.twitch.tv, I think.
Yep, something like that.
Something like that.
Actually, that's the perfect time as we're waiting for this match to load for me to quickly go over if anyone here in the arena or watching at home wants to see more of what we have here at Boise State Esports, please consider getting a Twitch Prime subscription. Amazon Prime subscriptions automatically come with a Twitch Prime subscription, so anyone you know with an Amazon Prime subscription, any family members, relatives, or friends, you can get a free Prime subscription even if they aren't into esports by claiming that subscription here. Yes, take it from them, and by clicking that subscribe button, you support everything we do here at Boise State University, and you fund scholarships for potential future players. Right now, we are going to get into the game, and we are going to be starting on Busan.
And this is a fantastic map for both players to kind of meet how much they want to be aggressive, because when it comes down to it, you can easily sit down right there where we're seeing that bridge is hovering barely over the control point that is used to get the win on the W. But beyond that, you can go ahead and go into the enemy spawn, try to deny their rotation into that. It really depends on how aggressive you want to be as a team.
Yeah, the key here is for whatever team loses the first fight is making sure you don't get spawn trapped. We've seen it from both sides, mainly from the Boise State side.
Danger.
Danger. It is a lot of danger. That'd be
danger, you can't go
in
there.
That's a sneaky route to take as well, but we've seen a lot of teams, they basically just channel down one corridor, just get immediately popped, because in the shield meta, when you're not the team that's assaulting, it's so much easier for you to just sit behind shields. So whatever team loses this first fight has to be very adaptive when it comes to their strategies.
Yeah, the mobility is going to be something crucial as well, because look how many pillars there are just at these initial starting points for the fights. There's so many things that can block the projectiles from each team, and as we see here in the middle, a Reinhardt's going to be pulled out from Solpan. A little bit of engagement, but he falters immediately. Block is going to be going down a little bit low as well. The dangerous health bars is going to be dropped, and Thunderhorn is going to be dropped. Wyoming is taking the first two bloods, going for almost a full team kill here, but unfortunately do get denied as Solpan just spawned.
Wait, Boise State, we have seen them pull out this Reinhardt before here on this map. Didn't work that time, though, so Wyoming will be the ones who start with the point. The rest of the team on the Broncos side will spawn there. We are seeing a meta comp come out from the Cowboys. Nothing surprising there. For Boise State, the only difference, as we mentioned, is that Reinhardt Baratel. So Boise State and Solpan have to make sure that works. And here's this sneaky flank route we were talking about.
They have to be careful, though, as they sneak under Wyoming. The Cowboys are left unawares as they go for another rotation, and Boise State almost gets the whole capture. They do so, and a fantastic rotation for Boise State. The Broncos charging forward into the Cowboys, but Solpan is dodging dangerously low. The target acquisition for Wyoming is impeccable for their capture point.
The Guac is going to take down Euphoria. The Coalescence is going to come out from Nerdy Bird, and that's going to wipe the Cowboys. B-Boy, the only one alive, he's going to go down. Denied a team kills. Euphoria did respawn, but now the Broncos are in complete control. They have the point. Let's see if the Cowboys have a sneaky flank up their sleeves.
Look at their ultimates. Boise State almost has 4 online, and on the other side of things, Wyoming only has the Blizzard Blossom available to them. And it's going to be something that, basically determines who's able to execute first. Again, Boise State going for the little bit of aggressive play, but this means that they're also subject to that sneaky rotation that they were able to get the point with.
And sometimes it definitely helps. Actually, Solpan is going right into the team here. A Death Blossom is going to take out 2 from Boise State, but Solpan just went ham. But this Reaper is saving it from Wyoming. Almost a full team wipe. Are you kidding me? I was just going to make a little bit of a side comment there, but I couldn't, because just
not
a
play
allowed. Not allowed. Wyoming is going to try to capture this point. But what I wanted to say is sometimes with Ultimate, it really tests the discipline of a team, because sometimes you got to be disciplined enough to maybe get into an engagement and let the other team waste a couple ultimates before you coordinate all yours with the team. And that can be tough to do, because it's so tempting to press that Q.
That's what I thought really Wyoming was going to do in that fight. I was a little shocked the Blizzard Blossom came out, but it worked perfectly for the Cowboys. Broncos going to take that familiar route. Let's see if the Cowboys are ready for it this time. And yes, they are. Perfect Ice Ball is going to come out. Supercharger down from Glock. Nerdy Bird going to use the Coalescence. Dramatic Flux coming down from Trent. 1, 2, 4. Nobody's going to go down as the Coalescence comes out as well. Supercharger this time from Euphoria. Thunderhorn's going to pop the Soundberry. Captain Star has the Blizzard online as well. And that's going to start taking the Cowboys down. They just ran out of healing. Slab Happy, the last one alive. He's going to fall back, at Boise State once again back in control.
Modern Frost on his signature pick says, "I am death and I come for you, Wyoming."
And I love the Soul Pan here on the Reinhardt. We have seen him on so many different heroes, but the Reinhardt, this is such a great nostalgia trip for those who have been following Soul Pan in his career. And he has that shatter available. Hopefully we can see a fat shatter from Soul Pan, something we haven't seen in quite a while.
Oh! There it is! The fat shatter is going to allow Soul Pan to just go right through Wyoming, taking them out one at a time. Oh, what a great nostalgia trip. We haven't seen that in so long. Welcome back, Soul Pan. He actually got booped to the side for the flank shatter. Otherwise, it was going to meet the forward progression of a fortified Orisa, and that's not going to work for you. And we do see here a little bit of swap coming out. They want to go for a Tracer as well as a Winston. They're trying to go for a little bit of a dive. Overtime is going to be X-Twist here as Nerdy Bird pops the Coalescence. A lot of damage is going to be put onto the Wyoming, and they are again sent scrambling back to their base.
We're still in overtime, though. Zorth is going to use that Death Blossom. Will pick up any kills, and as the timer ticks down, the Broncos will get it now. They will take the first map here in round 1.
My apologies.
I love Busan.
My apologies for not keeping my side comments short and concise, but as soon as I start talking, there's a major play, and I just can't stop. I gotta say what's going on screen.
Welcome to Overwatch.
I know.
There is no downtime. So you have to see how the Cowboys want to respond.
But the Cowboys did put in a good performance there.
Did.
They had great engagements.
They were fantastic. They won the first fight. Really what turned that around
was that
for
shatter.
The Broncos. Well, the shatter, but also the sneaky play. We usually see people funnel right down that hallway there, sneaking underneath the point, getting it there. It really felt like from there, Boise State was in complete control of the map. We'll see if we see any pharmacies come out on this map, or maybe Doomfist. Those have been very effective for both sides here. See if we're going to see any swaps where both teams are comfortable with where they are. And they might be because they perform so well.
See a Widowmaker as well, because these first points where you're able to get on that high point of that building, we do see some rockets coming out, so the pharmacy is going to be maybe on one side, but the Widowmaker right there where you see that second elevation, so much points for critical damage as well. And a little bit of engage here on the back line. Soul Pan's going to be switched to a little bit more comfortable pick and going for tremendous amounts of damage on the front line of Wyoming. 3 are going to be eliminated, 4 in Boise State showing promise and momentum from the last round.
They're not quite able to take down Slap Happy, though that lack of hit scan is something Boise State might want to keep in mind if one of their DPS players does go down in a fight for now. They have to be very confident, although Slap Happy is actually the farthest in this game besides Nerdy Bird. That barrage is up over 55% and only building because no one for Boise State can do any damage to him as we see him bouncing around in the background there. Guac taking a lot of damage. Coalescence is up for Nerdy Bird if she chooses to use it. Ice Wall is going to come out and trap 3 members of the Cowboys on one side. Here comes the Coalescence. Modern Frost, the first one to fall, though. Now we'll see a kill picked up from Wyoming as we're going to see Trenton and Euphoria go down as well. Nerdy Bird doing a lot of healing. Thunderhorn as well. Viking Pilot will go down. The Cowboys are probably going to have to regroup at this point, and they are going to do that. Let those spawns reset. Maybe have a couple more fights against the Broncos.
But that being said, Slap Happy was able to get 100% on his ult. If he's able to catch Boise State unawares with the sneaker rotation to that left side, it could be detrimental to Boise State's defense at this point.
And I do want to ask, is there anyone in particular that Wyoming should starting to be focused down? Is there anyone standing out in particular from Boise State that's a huge threat here?
I mean, Nerdy Bird out of here.
Yeah, Nerdy Bird, Thunderhorn, any support. It lets you do a ton of damage as the Supercharger is going to come down from Soul Pan here. Viking Pilot is going to use that Coalescence. Euphoria will fall. Double kill picked up by the Broncos.
There it is!
He snuck around just like you said, Fairytale. We will see Nerdy Bird and Captain Star pick up another kill. B-Boy will res Euphoria. Zorith is going to take down Captain Star, who did use the Blizzard. That is terrible for Boise State to not have the Blizzard Blossom up. We do see the Valkyrie come out very late for B-Boy, but the Cowboys are going to claim this point.
Soul Pan wanting to say, maybe we should be a little bit more aggressive, maybe we should be a little dive heavy, hovered on the Wrecking Ball, but quickly switched back saying, we have 77%, we can take things a little bit slow, maybe get another ultimate, but again, like you said, Captain Star throwing that Blizzard means that there's no way for Boise State, sans the Gravitic Flux, to keep them in range of that Death Blossom shortly coming up.
Zorith has that Death Blossom up as well. Euphoria very close to Supercharger. Coalescence is going to come out from Nerdy Bird. She's taking a lot of damage. Gravitic Flux is going to come out from Guac as well. We're going to see a res out onto Slap Happy, but it's not going to matter. There's the Death Blossom. 2 other Cowboys are going to fall. Slap Happy the only one alive. He'll get shot out of the sky, and the Broncos pick up a team kill and are so close to taking the second map.
They have to continue to be aggressive because Wyoming doesn't have any resources. They have their own Death Blossom as well as the Bongo, but that's not going to be enough if they're not able to get to the point.
Yeah, the Cowboys have probably one fight left. If it's not going to be a fight, they want to take on their own terms. Zorth going to use that raid form there. He's now trapped up by the ice wall. He might go down before he even gets the Death Blossom up, but he will actually take down Modern Frost in the process. We are in overtime here. The Cowboys have to stay on the points. Thunderhorn going to use that sound barrier. Didn't hit anyone. He goes down. Captain Star, Nerdy Bird, and Soulpan going to fall as well. A great barrage from Slap Happy before he died. And the Cowboys are not dead yet. They'll get that point. I don't know how Zorith stayed alive there.
Well, and the silver lining is Zorith, you could definitely see he was trying to get a good Death Blossom in there. It didn't work out for him. But the silver lining is that now he has it for this next crucial fight.
It's almost like he ran distraction there on accident.
Yeah, a little bit of a little bait and switch there.
Double
a lot of resources,
psychology.
And he even took out Modern Frost while getting caught out from 3 members. Boise State just not respecting that kind of heavy damage from this player, and Wyoming's going to be able to hold the point. Nerdy Bird's going to unleash the Coalescence, a lot of damage, and healing going to be put out from Boise State, and 2 members of Wyoming falter. The Death Blossom's going to be put out, but it's not enough damage. Again, another barrage from Slap Happy, but it gets shut down as the wings get clipped from Wyoming, and Boise State commanding their lead on this force and pushing forward onto the point.
You see a bunch of swaps come out from the Cowboys here to try and keep this into overtime, but the point has been contested, so the Broncos actually haven't got it. Now they will. Wrecking Ball, we're at the point, and we're into overtime here. The Cowboys have to stay on it to keep this game alive. We see the Death Blossom is up for Modern Frost. He's going to use it just as some extra damage. He'll actually go down to B-Boy and not pick up a kill. Supercharger is going to come out from Soulpan as well, as the Broncos starting to flounder there just a little bit. Slap Hacker on that Tracer is kiting Soulpan around right now. Guac will take out B-Boy. The Blizzard's going to come out from Captain Star. That'll pick up a couple members there. Nerdy Bird immediately uses the Coalescence as soon as it comes online, and the Broncos will get game 2 and round 1.
That was a redemption Blizzard from Captain Star. The first one whiffing, but that second one getting them the point and the round win.
We have seen such great plays, and Zoria,
rightfully so. This definitely belongs here.
Yeah, he's going to steal the play of the game here with this Death Blossom.
Look at how
this
good
was
this
the
is.
one that made me lose my voice. I was just making a comment, but 1, 2, and then after the Death Blossom, getting 2 more.
He gets 5.
5. Excuse me, almost leading to a full team wipe. That is a well-deserved play of the game. Now, one thing I wanted to comment on here is I loved seeing Soulpan back on the Reinhardt.
100%.
One of the seeing a Fat Chatter again was so great. It's such a nostalgic trip. But if we're going to go down that route, I want to see some Nerdy Bird on Diva.
I want to see Nerdy Bird Diva, but the Moira, she's instrumental in keeping her whole team alive.
Whether she's on the Diva or the Moira, she was such a key part of Boise State there.
I mean, every time I watch Nerdy Bird, it convinces me that Moira's Coalescence does not have a cooldown.
It's ridiculous. It's just a regular ability for her.
It is, it's like, oh, here comes the Coalescence, just a normal ability, not an ultimate. So incredible play. We might see something come out from Boise State. But you got to be careful. Wyoming's here in the building. You can see up on the screen behind me there. You see the players there. You can tell just over, that is my left shoulder, the Wyoming logos on some of those computers there. Split right down the middle on the stage.
You can't say your comms too loud.
No, you got to be very careful on your comms. The rest of the players scattered around the arena. They drove all the way from Wyoming to prove to their university how serious they are. And they gave it to Boise State. They are not to be taken lightly.
No. Boise State's having to pull out a lot of tricks. And in that first round, it was mainly just a couple misplays pulling, matter of fact, the Reinhardt into a position where the Shatter was going to get 4 behind the shield. That was one of the main pillars of success for Boise State. If that doesn't happen, this could have been a 1-1.
And one thing we're also seeing here is we've seen the coach, some coaching on the stage on Wyoming's side as well. Normally we just see that for Boise State.
Yeah.
Doc there giving some notes to the team, but it's so great. Yeah, you said it. When we have both teams here, we have coaches for each, we have cheer sections for each. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's a little loud, but that's the whole nature of the beast.
Yeah.
My personal favorite thing is the what is this? The anti-screen peeking barrier put between the 3 players on the map. And as we see a little bit of replays here, I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of recapping what went right for Boise State and what Wyoming can bring to the table to get a round win. And this is a fantastic ultimate from Modern Frost. But later in the game, the player Euphoria was able to say, you know what, hold on a second. If you get all your projectiles absorbed, your Death Blossom doesn't heal you at all. And that's what they did. So Wyoming has the resources and the wherewithal to know what they need to do to take a round win. They just need to execute.
Yeah, I mean, Wyoming never was being sort of the patent spawn trap that we've seen from Boise State before. They were competing very well. They were never back on their heels. So they've proven that they can stick against this Boise State team on at least that map. The quality of Overwatch, maybe the best part is there's so many different maps. So maybe if you aren't good at the first one, we have different ones to come that might highlight Wyoming's skill style. Maybe they have a pocket pick they like to bring out.
Historically, and this is just the nature of Broncos in general, they put up a huge amount of resistance, but the Cowboys' resilience will wear them down.
Will it wear them down? I am not sure. You cannot expect anything in this match against Wyoming. The Boise State Broncos versus the Wyoming Cowboys in Overwatch.
That's what this is? This is Overwatch?
Yeah, if you haven't guessed.
I thought this was just a cardio workout, to be honest.
It was just a well, with the exciting it is, it gets your heart beating here on stage, so
True.
it feels like a cardio workout.
Now, it looks like we're going to do a little bit of a roster swap. D'Angelo being pulled onto the desk, onto the mainstay support role that she's been known famous for, those clutch heals and that devastating pocket mercy.
You know, in place of Thunderhorn, who was in that first game. They're going to be interested to see. Usually, as you mentioned with that Mercy, it's got to be a pharmacy comp pulled out. That's kind of where Mercy's spot in the meta is. So it'll be interesting to see how Boise State.
Weird.
Well, you would think, she'd have at least something besides, well, if you don't play Farah, you can't play Mercy.
It's almost, does Boise State have currently right now on the roster a Farah player? Does his name also rhyme with Schmapt and Schmar?
It might.
It might.
We might see it. Not the, not always the best game mode for it. It's not fantastic on defense because you're sort of always falling back. So we'll have to see here on the hybrid how they want to handle it and what map Wyoming wants to pick. But I think from what I glanced at, a little bit of screen peeking, it looked like Kings Row, but we'll have to see if that changes.
It is
Which
possible.
everyone wants to pick Kings Row. No, it's not Kings Row. I was wrong. Trying to speak it into existence.
One's day, one's night. It's all the same.
Exactly. So that means Lego Bastion could come out.
Lego Bastion.
I'd like to see Lego. Yes, exactly.
Yes,
I was going to say
specifically.
Yeah, we also have seen Boise State. They take it a couple different interesting defense routes, even opting to get rid of the Bastion and run the Pharmacy plus the Ash.
Yeah, but it's something that they struggle with sometimes as
well.
They
have had a tendency to struggle sometimes with that. I'll be curious to see what Wyoming wants to bring out, where they put that Bastion, the routes they take. We've seen teams take this route and be very successful against Boise State because usually you're posted up right above that bridge there, right in that little pocket is where the offensive side likes to post up. So if you can sneak around there, maybe you see a sneaky symmetric teleport. We've seen it a couple times very early this year. That might be key for Wyoming or whoever is attacking first to get a little bit of a sneaky pick.
I mean, whoever wins Boise State or Wyoming, we're all winners if a Lego Bastion appears.
That's true, because Legos are key. And those are my keys to success. Play Lego Bastion. Sponsored by not Lego, but me, because I love Legos.
You wish. Lego, I wish.
I'll give you a Lego if you play Lego Bastion.
I don't know if we want your Legos, Baratel.
I'll buy Fresh Pack.
As we're going to hop into the game here. Doesn't look like either side, at least the defending side, wants to bring a Bastion here for now. We will see.
True, they both have one.
Did. Where was that Bastion hiding? I've been wrong.
Waiting for the Batiste.
It's actually a mirror comp on both sides here. The Pharmacy plus the Bastion on both sides. We're going to see a lower flank set up there by Wyoming. Immortality Field is going to come out from Viking Pilot, be taken down by Modern Frost, and immediately Euphoria is going to fall. Zorith is the next one as well. Modern Frost just raking up the damage right now. He is just ripping apart the team. Now he's going to go for the other Farah. That could be a tricky one to hit.
That is a dangerous thing. And at first I was going to point out you did call it Mortality Field, but it ended up being a Mortality Field for Wyoming as they grouped around it. But as it was following, the damage from Captain Star and Modern Frost put them down into the respawn again.
Yeah, Modern Frost did a great job sniping out that Immortality Field from Viking Pilot. We are going to see the Amplification Matrix is online if he wants to use it. For now, though, the Cowboys are taking a little bit of a sneaky route here. They'll end up in the same spot a little slower maybe than Boise State expected, but already the damage coming in. Captain Star, the fourth one to fall. Immortality Field coming up on the side of D'Angelo. Going to see a res onto Captain Star.